Hello and a very good morning. Welcome to Shop on TV. I'm Hayley Green.
And I'm Sean Crawley.
And tonight we've got a really different night. We're going to really give you some peace of mind. Perhaps there's something that you know you should have done. Perhaps you know you should have written a will and you just haven't got around to it. And I think it's something we all do put off. It
is about planning, isn't it? And it's something that we all know that we need to do, but we might not have done it just yet. Well, tonight we have got a fabulous show to explain how easy it is to write a will.
Why we need to do a will. And we only discovered, because we've been together 34 years.
That was tricky.
Then 33, 34 years. Hadn't got a will and didn't realise that actually if one of us passed, we wouldn't get each other's money.
That's it.
And I think you'll learn a lot tonight.
Yeah.
And you'll understand why it's so important. And not just wills, lasting power of attorney as well, which actually I only did for my mum just a couple of years ago, and that is a real peace of mind.
The other great thing is we're going to be talking about Simpler Law, the company who are going to bring us these fantastic offers on being able to write a will, because a lot of the time you probably think, well, it's going to be really expensive, isn't it? It's not. And Simpler Law offer us some fantastic offers this evening, and we're going to talk you through all of those.
And they've got all that experience as well. So if there's anything you think, I was really uncertain. I was really, what do I need to know? Will it be too confusing for me? And it truly, truly isn't. Now, it's really easy to secure the deals this evening. So if you do think, well, I would like to get this offer, and actually, on top of everything else, we have got a really fabulous book. And this is so clever. This is what my family should know. And if someone does pass, it is a really tricky situation. Even all the passwords and things that you just don't know for certain bank accounts, everything goes into this book.
To find everything that you need, well, it can all be in one place with this book here. Now, this is going to be available to the first 250 people who make an appointment tonight. Lots of ways to get in touch, and it's about being able to write your will for peace of mind for you and for your family. Now, straight away, we want to show you the offers that we've got available on the show this evening. There are 3 separate offers. Well, let's take a look at what we've got for you. So you can have your family and estate will. The usual price on that is £180, or the suggested retail price. The Shop on TV price, the offer we've got for is just £89.
I mean, that is so affordable.
Yeah.
And it's so simple as well to do. It's that peace of mind that actually, not just that peace of mind for you, that peace of mind that you've looked after your family. Perhaps there's certain people that you want to get certain things. Perhaps there's certain people you don't want to get certain things, and you know that it's all been put down legally for £89. And when you split that into those 4 payments, 22, 25, and we were saying earlier in the green room, you could spend that on coffee a month.
Of course you could, quite easily. We also have a second offer, which is lasting power of attorney. If you don't know what any of these terms mean, we will talk you through all of these. Suggested retail price on that is £325. The offer this evening is £179, and if you split it across 4 payments, you can do that directly with Simpler Law, £44.75 on your first of 4 payments. However, the best offer that we've got for you tonight is a combination of the both, isn't it?
Absolutely, and again, should be £505, and at that price could still save you thousands of pounds. If you haven't got a will, it can cost so much. But you can see there, you're getting both the will and the LPA for £249. Again, splitting that over those 4 payments, making it so affordable. I think it's something that we do think about. We do tend to put off. We do panic. I know I did when we did the lasting power of attorney for Mum. It was like, will I know everything? Is it going to be too confusing? Simpler Law makes it so simple, and the nicest of people. But if you do want to secure the offers that we have today, the easiest way to do it is either to call, and you have got all of everybody ready.
Yep,
right,
the call centre's there.
Tonight
in Lincoln,
3 a.m.
Yep.
So the number there is 0333 600 2600. And all you'll be doing tonight is securing the actual offer that we've got. Yep. And then they will call you back tomorrow to sort out a time to book in an appointment with you. You can go onto the website as well. You can go via our website or go onto their website, or we can text.
Yeah, and if you do text, say you want to watch the show tonight and you want someone to get in touch tomorrow, just text the word will to 66777. So just text the word will, no extra letters, just the word will to 66777, and the team will get back in touch with you tomorrow. Not first thing, you don't have to worry, they won't wake you up early if you're watching the show late tonight. It'll be after 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning.
And don't forget as well, the first 250 people will get this fabulous book, which will be, again, peace of mind for your family, knowing where everything is. If you want to go via our website, shopontv.co.uk, it is as simple as this. You'll get to our first page.
Yeah, and you'll see the Simpler Law page there. You just click on there. It'll show you all the offers that we've got available. Just scroll down, fill in your details, press submit, and then the team, once again, will get in touch with you. We're going to meet two very knowledgeable people. We've learnt a lot already this evening. Joining us directly from Simpler Law. Well, first of all, we've got the CEO. The fabulous Andy is joining us.
Hi.
Lovely to see you, Andy. Andy Townsend, the CEO, and also Helen. Now, Helen, your title within the company is?
I'm the Legal Services Director.
Legal Services Director,
that's
right. We've got lots to talk about this evening because I think a lot of people like us don't understand what goes into writing a will or the power of attorney. So before we start, Andy, tell us a little bit about Simpler Law, if you would.
Well, Simpler Law, we're made up of a group of companies and we specialise in end-of-life planning. That's probably the best way to sum up, in a nutshell, end-of-life planning. So obviously we're talking about wills, which is what we're talking about tonight, powers of attorney, but we also go further than that as well. We deal with court of protection. This is where when people lose capacity but don't have a power of attorney in place, we can get a deputyship order. We'll talk about it a bit later because that's quite complicated. We also deal with conveyancing, property transfers. One of our companies is a licensed conveyancers. We specialise in probate as well. So it's not only the writing a will, but we will take it all the way through to what happens beyond someone passes as well. So we've got an awful lot of experience. And we also write our own documents. Now that might sound a little bit strange, writing documents for ourselves, but believe it or not, there are a lot of firms out there which don't write their own documents. So we write our own, not only for ourselves, but we also write all of the legal documents for over 100 other will companies and law firms across the UK as well.
Right.
So we've got an awful lot of experience in this area. We've dealt with over 200,000 clients now. We've got a 5-star Trustpilot rating. We're fully insured. So it's probably best to say that we know what we're doing.
Yeah, and that's so important, isn't it?
Again, it's peace of mind.
Yeah.
We keep saying that quite constantly. It's peace of mind knowing you're dealing with someone that really does know, and any questions you've got when you're speaking to them, you can sort all of those issues out. We've been asking Andy so much tonight already, and of course you'll be in that opportunity to do exactly that as well. Now, Helen, a lot of people, there's a lot of misconceptions about writing a will. Tell us about some of the really sort of incorrect ones.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We hear all sorts of myths and misconceptions. We get phone calls from people who say, oh, I think this is the case, and it's, until they have that conversation, they don't understand. And I think a lot of it relates to what happens if you pass away without a will in place. So people have this opinion that perhaps everything will be okay, or perhaps their circumstances are such that they don't need to have a will in place. A lot of people think if they're married that it's absolutely fine and everything will just pass to their partner, and that's not always the case depending on the size of their estate. But I think the one that we come across a lot is this misconception that there's something called a common law spouse.
Well, that was us. That was exactly us.
Yeah, people think if you've been together for a long time, or if you live together, or if you've got children together and you're not married, that there's still some kind of legal relationship there. And in the eyes of the law, unfortunately, that's not true at all. And if you're unmarried and you pass away, your partner is not entitled to receive anything from your estate at all. So I think that's the one that we come across most often, really.
And that was exactly the misconception that we had. We presumed because we'd been together for such a long time, it would automatically pass to your partner, but it doesn't.
It's not the case, so that could be you. And it's very complicated as well if you remarry and you've both got children from different marriages, and we'll go through all of that. There's so many reasons that you should make sure you have a will and make sure that you look after the loved ones, and the loved ones that you want to have certain things and you want the estate to go to, that they definitely do get it.
Now, there's so much more than wills, as Andy's already told us. Lots of other services that come from Simpler Law. So we're just going to show you some of those straight away. Again, the services here, Andy, are what you covered and so much more, aren't they?
Yes, there's an awful lot of things on there. You know, we even offer a bereavement service. So, you know, when people there, you know, it's like, what do I do? You know, who do I ring, and you know, what's the initial steps there? So we can give very practical advice to people in there. In addition to all of the other services that we offer, we'll look after people's documents. With a lot of the services we'll offer, we'll even update the wills free of charge for the future as well. Right. So it's not only what we think about now, but you know, in 2 or 3 years' time, things change, life changes, and we offer services there rather than going for the whole thing again and you know further expense. We'll keep it up to date for you. So through an awful lot of services, you know, very comprehensive services, to make sure that when clients have noted their wishes and they've stated what they want, you know, to keep in touch with people there to make sure it's up to date at all times, because life changes.
And if anybody out there is looking at the offers that we've got on tonight and you're thinking, oh, well, that's not right for me, like Andy just said, they can tailor-make plans for you.
Still
at
get
Simpler
in touch.
Law.
And remember to secure the offers. You do need to either get onto the phones or text or go onto the website, and we will go through that. Now, the first 250 people that get in contact are going to get this fantastic book.
Yes.
Could you talk us through this? Because this is something I think every home should have.
It's something we've created this through our years of experience, particularly when dealing with probate, and we not only deal with our own clients, but we get a lot of people that get referred to us or you know come to us you know through a Google search. But what we're finding in cases with probate, sometimes it's very difficult getting information, and people with all the best intentions there, they want it to go to the family, but how do we find it?
Yeah.
So we've created this book there, and just to give you some statistics there, which are on the front cover, and it says there, did you know that in the UK it's estimated that there is more than £5 billion in forgotten pension schemes, £850 million in unclaimed British bank accounts, and £2 billion in unclaimed life policies. So we're getting towards £8 billion there of provisions that people have made for themselves, life policies they've made for the family, bank accounts there that would want to go to the family that no one knows about. And this is sitting in British institutions and families there, people, when they naturally pass on, they want to leave it to the children, they want to provide for them, and yet it's been lost, because perhaps it's not been documented, or unless they paid on a regular basis out of the bank, where do you find a document? You know, it's in the bottom of the drawer, or we've seen people with a shoebox in a loft that can get it missing there. So what this allows people to do is to put it all together in one source of information, so there's a record of it. So, you know, we know that bank account is there. We know that little savings account that may be there from 20, 30 years ago that's accumulated interest is there. And now we can preserve it for the family. And also, we live in a digital age. You know, all my photos are on a tablet.
Yes. That
tablet's password protected.
Oh, and that's so important.
And of course, if I pass on and no one knows the password, then, well, they're lost. They're lost forever with like these.
I haven't even thought of that.
You don't even think about
it. It is, and you know, people have online accounts, and you know, all sorts of things.
Even more complicated now, isn't it?
And this also preserves your digital life as well, if you like. So you can put it in there. You know, people with Facebook, and we even have people writing these things into wills now, or into wishes for the family, what they want to happen to Facebook. Well, if they haven't got your passcode,
they can't
do anything with it. So this allows people to document it. It's a real comprehensive guide. We've had some fantastic feedback from our clients over the years, and it is a really valuable book to have.
A lot of people want to buy it, don't they?
Yeah, we do. People just have the book.
But for the first 250 people, you will be getting that fabulous book. Now, remember, it is so easy. If you're looking at the actual offers this evening and thinking, I would really like to chat to Simpler Law, it's really simple to do.
Yeah, let's run you through the ways to take advantage of the offers that we have got for you. So, first of all, if you want to go online, it's simplerlaw.co.uk/shop on ShopOnTV. If you want to get in touch on the phone, 0333 600 2600.
And it is just to book an appointment,
Yeah.
you know, to talk, to actually say that you're interested and sort out an appointment, not sort of asking you any questions.
Not tonight, no, it's just to ensure that you get these offers. Remember, the first 250 will get that book that we've just talked you through as well. If you do call the call centre tonight, they are there. They may be busy in this first section of the show. So if you can't get through and you want to go to the website, or the ideal way, I think, and we was talking about this with Helen, is to text.
Yeah.
If you text the word will to 66777, so that's 66777, just the word will, the team will get in touch with you sometime tomorrow. They won't call you tonight.
After 11 a.m, so they won't get in touch first thing. So that is the ideal solution as well. But please do make sure you secure those offers this evening, because you have got some incredible deals. Now, Helen, for anyone watching this morning and thinking, yeah, I should do a will, why should they choose Simpler Law?
It's such an important thing to do, isn't it? You want to make sure that you're using someone who's got the knowledge and the expertise to do that. And we absolutely have. This is all we do. You know, we specialise in wills and estate planning. Yes, we have lots of other services around that, but wills and estate planning is the core of our business, really. And I think all the reasons that you'd want to choose somebody, you know, you want someone who's insured and got the insurance, so every document that we produce is insured. You want someone who's got the expertise. We've got a brilliant team in our legal services department, the consultants on the phone that will literally hold your hand through the whole process.
And they truly do.
This
My
was-
experience
yeah.
was fantastic, because things like this personally terrify me, because
Yeah.
it's something that I'm not used to.
And you don't want to think about it, do you? That's
No.
the other thing.
Yeah,
You put it
it-
off.
yeah.
I do think
definitely.
it'll be really difficult and really quite complicated
Yeah.
and
And
things
it's
like that.
not-
But our team are specifically trained so that they guide you through the whole process.
It was like
So they'll-
holding your hand.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah,
It was.
exactly. And for us, it's all about the customer journey, really. You know, we want to make it as easy for you as possible. Some people find it really easy. You know, they see it as a bit of a paperwork exercise. And for other people, maybe because of their circumstances, they can find it quite difficult to talk about, you know, thinking about what's going to happen when they're no longer around. So we'll take it at your own pace, you know, we'll hold your hand through the whole process. And I think that's why you need to make sure you can find someone that you know and trust, like Simpler Law, to do the job for you.
And I truly did feel that, and I felt that no question was too silly. I felt that I was
That's
comfortable
absolutely
enough
right.
to ask you absolutely anything, and that's the situation you want to be in, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We get people who phone up who say, my circumstances are really complicated, you know, and they'll start talking about it, and it's probably something that we see on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You know, we speak to so many people and help so many clients with their documents. It's the ones that phone up and say, oh, mine's going to be really simple. They're the ones that we worry about, because there's normally something a bit more complicated in there. But the team are brilliant. You know, we're really proud of our client care team.
And we've got that team are ready, aren't they, Andy, now? Ready and waiting to take calls.
They're in-
Client
yeah.
care team.
They're in Lincoln. They're ready. They've all had the pizzas, so they're all awake now. So and of course you know they are very good at what they do. Might not be able to talk in depth tonight. They might have 1 to 2 questions. It's about securing the deal, and they'll call back tomorrow and spend as much time as you need with them. And don't worry about if you don't, or I'm not sure what I want or what I'll do. You don't need to know that.
Not
at the moment.
tonight.
No.
That's not what this is about. And you often find when we talk to you, it comes to you anyway.
You find
and
what
we take it at your
that's
pace. But that's not about tonight. Tonight is just make that first contact. Just pick the phone up.
Secure that deal.
And we have got some incredible deals as well. So if you are thinking, I really do, I've put it off for far too long, and this is sounding like it will be so simple to do, and I really do want to speak to Simpler Law. Have a little look at what you're getting with us tonight. You really have got some incredible savings. So family and estate will, normally £180, £89. So if you get into contact tonight, you can secure that price and you can split that cost over those 4 payments as well. So saving £91. Then we've got lasting power of attorney, and we will go through that. We've got lots to speak about that. We'll speak about that a little bit later on, and that should be £325. It's £179 with us tonight, and again you've got 4 payments that you can split there at £44.75, and then you can join the 2 together, which should be £505, and it's £249. Again, splitting that over 4 payments, making it just £62.25. It's that peace of mind. It's you knowing that you've looked after your family. What you want to happen is going to happen. And of course, with the will and the LPA as well, it's not just after you've gone, it's also whilst you are still alive and perhaps something happens, an accident, and you can't then look after yourself. It's knowing that who you love and who you trust can look after you and your affairs. But we will go through all of that. All you need to do, though, is either jump onto the phones, and of course the team are there ready and waiting, 0333 600 2600. That's just to secure your deal this evening. They can answer perhaps a couple of questions, but they will be very busy tonight, so you don't really need to know much. Just say I'd like to speak to someone. They'll ring you back tomorrow and sort out an appointment. You can go through the website or through our website as well, and you can text WILL to 66777. So please do, whichever way you want to do it, it's entirely up to you. If you text WILL to 66777, they will actually ring you tomorrow morning after 11 a.m. Now, if you go through to our website, click onto our box that, of course, says Simpler Law. We've gone down to the bottom there, and that's where it'll take you. And you can fill in then your name, your phone number, your email, and then just submit that. And again, someone will get back to you tomorrow. And some really brief information there. So you don't really need to know anything tonight other than that you've got a great offer and that you definitely want to sort out your will or your LPA. And it's so important to make a will. Well, actually, we were saying it's so important, isn't it, to make a will. I don't know who would rather answer this, because I'll go to you, Helen. Why is it so important to make a will?
Well, it's documenting your last wishes, isn't it? It's making sure that what you want to happen when you're no longer around actually happens. I think most people understand that a will deals with your assets, so you can make sure your money and your bank accounts and your property end up in the hands of the people you want. But a will does so much more than that. And as we go through the show, we're going to talk about things like appointing guardians for minor children. If you're watching the show and you've got children under the age of 18, you really need to get a will in place just for that alone, really, And a will you can leave charitable gifts, you can pass on family heirlooms, you can do all that kind of thing. You can appoint executors for your will. It's such a powerful document. So there are so many reasons why people need to get a will in place. And I think until people have that conversation with us and talk about their specific circumstances, there'll be people who are watching the show who think, well, I don't really own anything, I haven't really got very much, or, my affairs are really straightforward, and perhaps, my family all know what I want to happen anyway. Well, unless you document that in a legally binding document, it's not going to happen. Legally, it can't happen. Even if your family know, legally they can't do that. It has to pass under something called the laws of intestacy, which we're going to talk about as well. We
are, and that's very complicated and very expensive, isn't it?
It can be,
and can take a very long time as well.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly adds another level of complication.
And you're sort of suffering enough already, aren't you, that you've lost a loved one, and then your family's having to go through that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having your wishes down, even just things like documenting your funeral wishes.
Yeah.
For the family to know, yes, that's what mum or dad would have wanted, is such a relief for people, so they know they're doing the right thing.
Like you're saying, it's got to be an official document, isn't it? A will really is for everyone, and I think historically I thought, oh, well, you don't think about a will until you're older.
Yeah.
If you've got children, if you're not married, there's so many reasons, isn't there?
And you just don't know what's around the corner, do you? We don't know what our future is at all.
No.
So you should have that peace of mind from right now.
Yeah, most definitely.
It sorts out so many family problems as well, because certainly in my family, when my grandfather passed on, the family rift never healed itself at all. And the debate of cremation and burial and what did he want and his wishes and it became it splits families
Becomes
apart.
an
We
issue,
see this.
yeah.
We see this.
That
it happened
makes
in
my hair
family.
stand on end.
And
That's
it is. And
so upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the purpose of will, it's not for you, it's for your family. It's a loving gesture. It's for them. And they know where they stand. They know what you want. It saves so many family problems. I hear, an awful lot, it wouldn't happen in my family. But it does. It happened in my family. And it's because there was no will.
Yeah.
And it just caused problems.
And that's what happens if a will's not in place. That's why it's so important for everybody. And the offers that we've got for you tonight are fantastic. It's really simple for you to get in touch as well. Simple Law, you can click on our website, you can go through to the Simple Law website, you can call and you can text. There it is, there's all the details for you. And remember, with these special offers, you've got a fantastic opportunity to even spread the costs tonight, haven't you?
Yeah, and to secure those deals that we've seen, do make sure you contact us in some way. And don't forget as well, we have got 250 of those fabulous books that really give you insight into what the family should know. That's exactly what the book is called. And we've got 250 of those to the first people. Now, we're getting busier and busier. It's really lovely to have your company this morning. It's really nice to have something a little bit different and something I think that will give so many people out, and I will say this so many times, peace of mind. Actually get you to do something you've probably put off for months or years. You just keep, life gets in the way, doesn't it? And you don't get things done. Tonight, you're going to get things done. And you've got a fabulous team, Andy, haven't you? Tell us about your team that we're going to speak to on the phones.
Yeah, they are very, very good, and they are trained to deal with all sorts of situations. People think it's a negative thing when they often they call in, but it's not. People, we find that our clients, it gives them a real deep sense of satisfaction that they've done something positive there. The person on the other end they're extremely friendly people. They're not there to judge. They're not there to they're there to help. And so they will listen to you. They'll take the questions. They've got a sense of humour as well, because it's not all morbid all the time. There, I know we're talking about something which is a very serious thing there, but generally it's an incredibly positive experience. And they'll listen. They'll take as long as you need there, and they'll help you to crystallise things as well. And little bits that we've seen with, especially our experience of what happens when people pass on, we can help and give advice and perhaps give more guidance in areas there. But we really are led by you. So you'll find that say just pick up the phone and just say hello, and that's always the worst. The hardest thing to do, and then you'll find that once you've said that, we'll take care of it.
It's just getting started, isn't it?
Right,
That's
yes,
the thing, because
yes.
it is that kind of thing. We know we've got to do it, but we put it off.
Yeah.
Or we forget, or something else comes up.
Well, we find it a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
We find it a bit frightening. It's something you don't really want to think about, but it is something we need to sort.
Yeah, it's very important that everyone has a will in place, like we were saying. And Simpler Law, because a lot of people might see templates as such and think, oh, well, I've done it. But there's issues there, isn't there?
Well, there is. It's like you can do your own will. Of course you can.
Yeah.
You can buy a template. Of course you can. But it's like, would I service my own car? No. I would, dental. I can do my own dentistry. I certainly wouldn't recommend it, and I could do that as well. But I will go see a professional, and it's in exactly the same vein there. Yes, you can buy templates there, but you often find that with a template you can fill it out, but there's small print on the back. And the small print says, now you've done this, we recommend you get a legally qualified opinion on it. So, well, so really even that has got a disclaimer on there. And we've seen many situations where people have tried to do it themselves. And of course, the only way to really test this document is when you pass on. It's too late.
After the fact.
It's too late. I can tell you one example. It's a true experience. Someone rang into us, and this happened. It's happened before COVID now, so obviously it was 5 years ago. But they rang in there, and it was a terrible story, and we couldn't help. And what had happened is they'd written their own will. It's an elderly couple. They wrote their own will. And of course, they wanted it to go to their son. Sounds very easy, so they wrote that. Now, that property owned a house, and it was in his name only. For some reason. So they'd been married couple, had been married for years and years and years. They had a house, the mortgage, or the house was in his name only for some reason. They wanted to leave it to the son. Now, what they did, so they wrote a will to say, when we pass away, we'll leave it to our son. But even in that simple terminology there, what they neglected to do is leave it to each other first. So he went to the son. Now the son was in financial difficulty. He had creditors. He was in an IVA situation. And so all of a sudden now, the property owner's son, well, the creditors are now after the house, but his wife is still alive. And now she rung us because she was concerned she was going to lose the house. And what could we do? We couldn't help. I don't know what the outcome of that was. But just the fact that an elderly lady was under that sort of pressure there, with a house, obviously, you know, a substantial asset there, because they try to do it themselves. So we'd urge anyone, you know, get it done professionally, especially if you've got a house or if you've got assets there. You know, if it's worth paying £89, people pay more on buildings and contents to insure for something they hope they'll never have to claim for. You are going to use this document, so it's incredibly important to do that. And for the cost of it, just get that peace of mind, because we're insured. So if anything goes wrong, you know, we're backed up with insurance for £2 million. So if anything happens there, and by the way, we've never had a will fail in our history, ever, but there's always that backup there, because when you use this document, it will be too late for you to do something.
So true.
It all becomes so clear, doesn't it? I mean, it's really simple terminology. That's the other thing. I think people are scared because it's the unknown, but this makes it simple. Simpler law, make it simple.
And if you try it and we just, you know, do it yourself, you could make it so complicated
make it
and make it so wrong. Get it done properly, and Simpler Law have that knowledge and are so good at talking you through and actually finding what you need without you even having to think about it. There's some incredible offers, and remember, to secure those offers, you do need to either ring in tonight or go onto the website or text in. And if you do that, that will secure the offer and also secure that fabulous book.
And I don't want you to think that £89 is a payment that you're going to have to keep paying. That's the payment for making your will, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It's if you want to pay it as a one-off payment, that's it. Pay your £89, get your will done, it's done.
And if someone's already got a will and they're a little bit unsure perhaps of the will they've got, is it worth them coming to you?
Absolutely, yeah. There are so many things to think about if you've got a will already. First of all, where is it? You need to know where it is, or your executors need to know where it is, because they're the ones that are going to need to use it when you're no longer
We've just
around.
sat in the green room with you and said, I don't know where our will is.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean, if you don't know,
we
how
only
are
did
your
it a couple of years ago, and I have no idea where it is, which is ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah, there's a couple of other things you need to check as well. Check that you've signed it correctly and got it witnessed correctly. There are so many times we get a phone call saying, my mum's passed away, but it's okay, I've found a will. And we're like, great, we can help with this, send it in to us. And we receive a document and it's not been signed correctly. So they've gone through all the effort of getting a will in place, but then it's totally invalid because it's not been signed. So always check that. Also, is it up to date? You know, people's circumstances change. We see more and more, quite sadly, that families can fall out and that there are people that are specifically excluded in documentation. You want to make sure that your will is bang up to date so that it reflects your circumstances.
Exactly what you want.
Yeah, so always check that that's up to date. Worst case scenario, just let us have a look at it. You know, give us a call. We're happy to have a look and say, yeah, this matches your circumstances, you're absolutely fine. Or we'd make recommendations as to whether you need to update it or do anything different. We're happy to do that. Just make sure you get in touch with us.
Great.
It's making sure you've got everything in place, and if you're thinking, I really don't think, I know I haven't, I need to do something, have a look at the offers that we have got today. We're busy on the website, and I know you can always either go through the website or the phone lines, or you can text, but these are our deals.
Yeah, and this is all you're doing tonight. You're securing these offers that we've got for you. So if you want to do the family and estate will, it'll secure an appointment and the price that you see on screen. The suggested retail price of £180 comes down to £89 on our ShopOnTV price. You've also got the opportunity to split the cost on 4 interest-free payments, just £22.25 on the estate will that you see there. Next up, we've got the lasting power of attorney. £325 is the suggested retail price. We will go into detail about power of attorney, so if you've heard that term bandied around or you think it's something that you need, stay with us throughout the show and we'll explain. The offer's great. It's £179 for your lasting power of attorney with us tonight, and if you split the cost, it's £44.75. But the best offer that Simpler Law are bringing us is the combination. It's the will and the lasting power of attorney. A suggested retail of £505. Tonight's offer is £249, and securing that offer tonight, if you get in touch, £62.25 on your first of 4 payments. Don't forget, the first 250 clients will also receive a free copy of What My Family Should Know, the book that we've got here. The book is fabulous. It's a book where you keep the details for everything. So if anything does sadly happen, you'll know exactly where everything
and
is.
things like that, things that no one would know. You've got it all down in a book. So if something does happen, you can, they can access absolutely everything, even like Facebook and things such as that. It is a fabulous book, and it will be the first 250 people that get in contact tonight, either with that phone call or with the text. And remember, if you are calling tonight, it is just to secure the offer and secure the book, and then they'll get back in contact with you tomorrow. If you text tonight, they will get in contact after 11 a.m. tomorrow, and of course you can get through on the website as well.
Let's show you how easy it is to get in touch if you do want to secure those deals and secure an appointment. So if you want to go to the website, simplerlaw.co.uk/ShopOnTV. If you want to call on the phone, 0333 600 2600. The call centre, the team are in there right now. It's quite busy at the moment, so if no one picks up straight away, you can always text. And if you text WILL to 66777, so that's the word WILL to 66777, and the team will get in touch with you tomorrow. It doesn't matter whether it's lower or uppercase, just text the word WILL 66777, and the team won't get in touch too early, so you don't have to worry if you're up late tonight that they'll get in touch early doors. It'll be 10:30, 11 o'clock after that time when they get in touch tomorrow. But you'll have secured the deal.
That's it, and the book. And if you are used to our website, you can go through our website as well. If you go to our first page, just click on Simpler Law, and that will take you through to Simpler Law's website. You'll see the offers that we've got available that are exclusive with us, and it gives you the opportunity to very easily just fill in a few details there, your name, phone number, email, and then a little bit of information, and then submit that. And again, someone will get in contact with you tomorrow just to arrange an appointment, and of course you'll secure the offer and you'll secure that book as well.
And you don't have to specifically know what you want tonight.
No.
As long as you just get in touch, the team will honour those offers that we've got for you. So you don't have to know you just want the will, you just want the power of attorney.
Because Andy, sometimes you don't realise what you need till we speak to you.
Not at all. It's like I say, people, you don't have to think, right, who executives going to be and what I'm going to do with this. You don't need to know that. Yeah, at the moment, it's about securing the offer. It's it's make the contact. Yeah. And then even just to go a bit further, after we make contact, we'll send you a proper preparing for your appointment booklet, and it gives you some interesting pointers in there, and you think, all right, okay, yes, and it helps you to prepare. But even then, when we take you through instruction on the phone, some people still don't know or unsure, but by the end of the call, it's like, right, yes, and they've got it now, and it even allows you can then, for the next few days, ring back and go, do you know what, I will take your advice, I will change it to read like this. For now, you don't need to know anything like that. Just make the call, and like I say, we'll give you all the helpful pointers and all of the time that you need.
It just clears everything up, doesn't it? And that's the fabulous thing. It makes everything clear for you, so you then know what you want from Simpler.
So much easier for your family that's left behind as well, because they're having to cope with the loss of you, which is bad enough, without then having to try and sort everything else out. And sometimes it can cause family feuds, because you're falling out because you don't know what they wanted, what you wanted. So get it all written down in a will.
Now let's talk about, Helen, what happens if you don't have a will, because it can cause, we've said some of the problems, but it can cause so many problems, can't it?
It can, yeah. So if you die without a will in place, your estate is dealt with under something called the rules of intestacy. Now, these rules were introduced 100 years ago. So, this is something that is really archaic.
That's crazy.
And it just doesn't suit today's modern family and modern dynamic. So you can see there that there's a number of questions that the rules of intestacy will ask you. So the first thing it will say is, are you married? And if you're married, then your spouse is entitled to a certain amount of your estate, but perhaps not all of it. Or if you're not married, it then talks about, do you have any children? And if you don't have any children, then it says, do you have any parents that are still alive? And it's your parents then that are inheriting.
Yeah.
So it's very kind of black and white.
Yeah.
You know, it's all yes, no answers, and it's all dictated by this piece of legislation. There's no room in there for different family scenarios. You know, if you're in a relationship, and it's not uncommon for us to see people who've been married 2 or 3 times, having children from different relationships. If you don't have a will and you die intestate, you are taking a gamble really on who dies first as to which children inherit.
Gosh.
Because on first death, yes, your estate might pass to your spouse, but then when they pass away, their estate will only go to their children. So if the first spouse to die had children of their own, they're not going to get anything under the rules of intestacy.
That really surprised me, because we looked at it before the show, didn't we? And,
Yeah.
and some of those circles where it went, where the money actually goes,
Yeah.
is completely not what you would expect it to be.
No, no, and it doesn't take into account any kind of modern family dynamics. I mean, we see a lot of people who choose to separate as well, but who don't actually divorce, and they just decide to move on with their lives.
Right.
What they don't realise is that their spouse still has an entitlement to their estate when something happens to them. Unless they make a will to direct it to where they want it to go, this spouse, who they may not have seen for 10 years, is still going to inherit on their death.
And that can cause such an upset, can't it, with a family?
Absolutely. Well, you could then be in a situation where, you know, people are having to bring claims on the estate and take legal action and do all this kind of thing simply because the person who has died hasn't planned ahead and written a will with their directions in. And the saddest thing is that sometimes we speak to families, and the worst thing that they ever say to us, which just really kind of gets everyone in the probate team, is, this is not what my mum would have wanted.
Oh, yeah.
If she'd have known the problems this would have caused or the way that the estate would be dealt with, she would have made a will. That's what they say.
Yeah.
So the reason we do these shows and try and give really kind of cost-effective solutions to people is to get as many people as possible just to have that conversation.
And it doesn't matter, I wouldn't think, what sort of age you are, because I think you always think writing a will, and we were the same. We think, oh God, we've got years yet, but you just don't know. So when should we think about writing a will?
Now,
Whatever age.
Yeah, if you're watching the show and you're thinking, actually, yeah, I should maybe do this because I wouldn't want this to happen, or, you know, I have got children, or I've just bought a house, or even people who have pets. You know, if you've got animals,
gosh, yes.
some people are more worried about what's going to happen to their animals when they pass away. Yeah, so anyone who's thinking, yeah, I've got specific wishes that I want to happen, they need to get a will in place. You're absolutely right. We all want to think that we've got decades ahead of us and that nothing's going to happen. But imagine living all those decades with it in the back of your mind thinking, I really need to do this. Tonight you can just get it all done. You know, pick up the phone and speak to us, secure the offer, get your will done, and then you can put it in a drawer, you know, or store it securely and know that it's there if it's ever needed.
It's peace of mind, isn't it?
And the greatest thing is that you just make it so simple. We don't really need to know anything. We just need to talk to you, tell you what we've got, what we want.
People are scared of the legal terminology because documents are written in the legal terminology, and they think, oh, they're going to ask us all these questions and I'm not going to be able to answer them because I don't understand how a will really works. You know, we talk about executors, and there'll be people thinking, what on earth is an executor? You don't need to worry about anything like that. Our staff will talk you through it. Our client care team will give you all that information and explain absolutely everything to you. They make it really simple so that you can get your wishes in place.
Now, I've got a question. What if both parents died?
Yeah, what had happened to the children?
Yeah, this is, nobody wants to think that they're not going to be around to see their children grow up. But if both parents pass away and the children are under 18, obviously if you've got a will, you can appoint guardians in your will. So you can choose someone that you know and love and trust and who your children are comfortable with to then look after your children going forward. And that's such an important thing. If you haven't got a will in place, you're not appointing the people that you want. What you're doing is you're leaving it then for people to step forward and say, oh yeah, I'll look after the children. That might not be the person you would have wanted.
No.
You might get people from different sides of the family who are arguing over it.
Yeah.
You know, and you can imagine at a time when the children are going to be devastated,
Parents, yeah.
things need to be simple and
Calm,
straightforward, you know. The very worst that can happen, and luckily it doesn't happen very often, but it can happen if families are falling out, is that the children can be taken into care while it's all sorted out. And you can imagine that's just devastating for everyone. Nobody wins out of that. So getting a will in place and appointing guardians is a really simple thing to do, but making sure that it's documented in a legal document.
That's what you've got to do, isn't it? And like we said about, if it was one of those templates, Andy, it could be the fact that it's not binding, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. It is, you know, again, it's just with the terminology we've said, or if it's been done wrong or not signed properly there. If you're not a professional, you know, you are leaving it to chance. Yeah, you know, and some people do it absolutely fine. But why leave it to chance? If you're talking about children, if you're talking about a house, you're talking about, you know, pets, or you're talking about, you know, the precious gifts, because you can leave heirlooms, you know, you can gift, you know, and, you know, I want my, you know, granddaughter to have my wedding ring. And we see that an awful lot in wills there. You know, unless it's done properly there, then it's if that will never existed and it will fall back to laws of intestacy. So get it done properly, get it done professionally. If you do it right, you only do it once, yeah, you know, and it's done then. It's the peace of mind that it gives our clients, though. You know, we can feel it when we speak to them. They've done it. They've made that move there.
It is a relief.
That's, you know, so important.
And you make sure that we do it right. You make sure that it's signed properly and what we've done is all correct, because it's so easy to do it wrong.
Yes. We won't write a will until you're happy with the will. Yeah. Right. And some people do come to us and you know, everyone, even after they were told an instruction, you've still got 14 days. Yeah, you've still got 14 days, yeah? Nothing's going to happen for 14 days. You can come out 14 days, you can make all the changes you want, you know that, and sometimes people do. And you go, do you know what? You was right, or, you know, we'll do this, or, do you know what? I know what you said, but we'd prefer it this way. That's fine. Yeah. As long as you understand, all we can do is we can be transparent, we can give you guidance, we can give you help, we can give you advice where necessary, but it's you, it's what you want to happen. And the only way to document it, you know, in legal eyes, is through a will.
And tonight it's so affordable, and it's going to make it so simple for you as well. So let's have a look again at the offers. If you're sat at home thinking, yep, it's time, I've put it off for far too long, we don't know what's around the corner, I don't want my family falling out, I want to make sure what I want actually happens when I'm not here. The actual offer for the family and estate will should be £180. It's £89 with us here on ShopOnTV. That's our special offer, and you can split that cost over those 4 payments. We've got the lasting power of attorney as well, and we will be going into that very shortly. And that's what more about when you're alive, and it's a really interesting thing to look into. £325 is the price that it should be. £179 is our ShopOnTV price this evening. Again, you can split that cost over those 4 payments, and then you can combine the 2 together, which I would really recommend to do, but you don't even need to know what you want or need. Just get in contact and say, this is what I think, and then when you have your actual appointment, they'll talk you through and find what you need. But if you do want to go for the 2 together, £505 is the price it should be. The special price which you want to secure this evening is £249, and you can split that over those 4 payments as well. Don't forget, the first 250 clients will actually get this fabulous book, and this is What My Family Should Know. And this is things we hadn't even thought about. No. And it talks you through at the start where there's so much money just sitting there and no one knows where it should go because perhaps a will wasn't signed correctly, who it belongs to. And the other thing is, not only is it about your money and your estate, it's also your personal things, like perhaps your details to your pension, or even your passwords for your bank account, or your broadband, or your Facebook, and things such as that. You know, cancelling things can be so complicated if you haven't got that. password, if you haven't got that sort of, you know, you don't know what you should be doing, and you've got all this information in this book. This book is fabulous, and I know lots of people have been in contact with Simple Law wanting to buy that book and more books, because I think everybody should have that at home, knowing you've got all those contacts. To contact us is really, really easy, so you can do it in various different ways. Whether you want to go through the website, simplerlaw.co.uk/ShopOnTV, or you can go through our website as well. Whether you want to go onto the phones, now you're just ringing up this evening to secure that actual offer, and then arrange, they'll ring you tomorrow to arrange an appointment. You don't need to know anything about what you really need tonight, just securing the offer, and that is 0333 600 2600. And then you can text as well. Now this I think is really good. Just text Will to 66777 and they will get in contact with you. Simple Law will ring you tomorrow after 11 a.m. because we're all up late this morning, aren't we? So after 11 a.m. and again, just to secure your deal, make sure you get that fabulous book as well, and then they will sort out a date that's convenient for you to, you know, speak to them, which is what it's all about. It's all about it being convenient to you and creating a will, which sounds like something quite, I think I found it quite daunting and frightening, and it honestly isn't if you're speaking to the right people.
You're speaking to professionals who know exactly what you need to know, and they can make it bespoke for you as well. That's the great thing about Simpler Law. So when it comes to actually making the will, we've made the appointment, we've got our book.
Yeah.
What's the process then?
So when you speak to us tonight, like you say, you're just securing the deal.
Yep.
And what we'll do then is we'll send you some information, which is all about preparing for your appointment. So it's all the things that you perhaps want to think about before you actually go ahead with your appointment. And then we'll make an appointment at a time that's convenient to you. And the appointment will take place over the phone, so you'll be at home, you can make a cup of tea, you can sit down, and we'll talk you through and guide you through every single aspect of the will, and talk about things that perhaps you haven't thought about as well. You know, ask you questions to kind of get all that information, talk about the assets that you've got and what you want to happen to them. And then when all that's done, as Andy was saying, some people know everything straight away. They want, you know, they know exactly what they want to happen, and it can all take place on that same day. For other people, it might be, oh, actually, I just need to think about this, or, you know, I need to ask my guardians if they'll be happy to have the children. That's always a good idea.
Right.
We always advise checking with them first. But then once you're happy with the instructions that you've given us, we'll then produce your documentation for you and send it out. But as you can see, a will can do so much. So during your appointment, we'll go through all of the things that you can see there. So you'll be able to choose your own executors. We'll ask you about who you want to inherit, but I think equally as important, the people that you definitely don't want to inherit. So we can specifically exclude people within the will, so we can make sure that those people don't get anything from your estate. Whereas, as we discussed under the rules of intestacy, they will inherit automatically and there's nothing you can do about it. So this will is all about taking control. You can make specific gifts, you can pass on family heirlooms, you can leave charitable donations, you can look after your pets.
I've never even thought about that.
It's really common now.
Yeah.
It's really common. People are thinking about...
Well, they're like part of your family, aren't they? Your pets, so yeah.
Who are the pets going to be looked after? Can I leave a cash gift for that person to be able to look after?
Right.
Or perhaps have them rehomed by a charity and make a charity donation as well at the same time. All of these things that people think about with their pets as well. But it's those personal things that make the will bespoke to you. You know, the templates that you buy or things like that, or the rules of intestacy, there's nothing personal about that.
No.
This is all about creating a document that exactly matches your wishes and does exactly what you want it to.
And you'll guide us and talk us through, and we'll find that bespoke will, won't we?
That's exactly right, yeah. We'll ask all the questions. We've got all the questions for you. All we need to do is for you to give us the answers, and we can produce that documentation.
Now, we've spoken about wills now. We will go back to that as well. But remember, if you do want to secure the offers, do please get onto either the phones or text or of course you can go via our website. But we're going to move on now to something else that I did with Mum just a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Andy, lasting power of attorney we're going to talk about now. Let's start right from the beginning. If anyone doesn't understand what that means, like Hayley said, we did it for a month and we did it with you guys. And honestly, we came in tonight, didn't we? Because we've not worked with you before.
No.
But we came in tonight and we were like, the lady we dealt with was fantastic.
I can remember her name, Joanne. She was lovely.
She held our hand through the whole process.
Completely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about lasting power of attorney.
So a will deals with what happens when you pass on, but what if you don't? And what if you're unable to act? This is what we're talking about. So a power of attorney is a document that will allow someone, in effect, to be you and act as you if you're unable to. That's probably the easiest way to sum it up. So we all think of very common things as well, dementia. Evidently, I was reading the other day that dementia now, I find it incredible that it's going to affect 1 in 3 of us in old age. It's mind-blowing. But of course, there's other situations as well, perhaps even people in a coma, or perhaps, you know, so there are other situations as well, but we all think of dementia, that's the most common one there. So if we're unable to act, a power of attorney is a very powerful document, and it gives someone else the authority. There are 2 types of lasting powers of attorney in England and Wales. One in Scotland, which is called enduring power of attorney, but in England and Wales there are 2. One deals with property and affairs, and one deals with health and welfare. And we're going to obviously, you know, go a little bit more into depth in each one, but they are exactly what they say on the tin. Yeah. So one that deals with the sort of financial side, the practical side, and one deals with more sort of health and welfare decisions. But these are incredibly powerful documents, and as we're going to see there, the effects of not having one can be incredibly complicated, long-winded, and very difficult. So it's a very simple document to put in force. But the ramifications of having one can be phenomenal. Can make life so much easier.
It's the same benefits, isn't it, when you talk about the will as to the lasting power of attorney. And we talked about the misconceptions with wills. Yeah. Does it lie the same for people with lasting power of attorney?
Yeah, I think most people have heard of a will, but quite a lot of people haven't heard of a lasting power of attorney.
I think because my mum had Alzheimer's, and until you have that experience in your life, you don't get those words in your scope.
You've not heard about it. But one of the things I think people do think is, you know, if you're a married couple and one of you is ill and can't make decisions for yourself, that perhaps the other partner can automatically take control. Yes. And that doesn't happen, which is correct if you think about it. You know, you couldn't go into each other's bank and say, oh, you know, she's not very well today, can I take some money out of the account? They wouldn't let you, of course they wouldn't, because it's all about data protection and protecting vulnerable people. But people somehow think that there's this, I don't know, some kind of relationship that exists. But you imagine all the institutions that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, and as soon as you ring them, the first thing they say is, can I have your passcode? Or, you know, what's your password? Or can I have your postcode and all this kind of thing to go through data protection? And then they say, are you the account holder? And if you say, yes, well, no, actually, but my mum's poorly and she can't do it, there's no way around that. They can't talk to you. So I think that's one of the misconceptions. And you're absolutely right. Until you find yourself in those circumstances
and it's
where
too late then, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it's so difficult. And you imagine at the time of doing that, you're trying to look after someone who's not very well. Yeah. And you're trying to do the best for them, perhaps arranging medical care or trying to pay their bills and things like that. And you can't do it. It makes it really difficult.
What does happen then if you haven't got lasting power of attorney?
So if you haven't, you can only do a power of attorney while you've got capacity to do so. And that's the important thing to remember. So you have to get these documents in place while you're fit and well. If you lose capacity or if something happens to you and you haven't got a power of attorney in place, the only thing your family can do for you is apply to something called the Court of Protection for a deputyship order. Now that order gives you the ability to make decisions for that person's on that person's behalf, like a power of attorney, but the process and the costs of having to do that are absolutely phenomenal. So because it's a court application process, there's naturally a court application fee, and that's £371. And then if the court decide that they want a hearing because they want to check that you're the right person to make those decisions, then that's another £474.
Gosh.
And then there's an annual supervision fee for that deputy that's been appointed, and that's £320 every year. And then you've got an assessment fee of £100, and it goes on and on and on. So there's all these fees, and not to mention it's a full court process as well.
So it can, how long can that go on?
Yeah.
Exactly, and the courts...
So that's not going to be instant, is it?
No, absolutely not. You know, the applications that we're submitting now are taking at least 9 months to go through.
Gosh.
And you can imagine if it's a time when you're trying to help out or trying to do something, that's a ridiculous amount of time to not be able to do anything.
And you're already having to cope with so much, aren't we? Because your loved one is poorly.
Yeah, and it's not a nice process to go through. The forms you have to fill in, you can imagine there's just stacks of forms, and they're all kind of free text boxes where you have to justify why you're the right person to do it. And the danger is, of course, is that the person that you wouldn't have chosen yourself is the one that applies for the order and gets control over your assets. So, you know, the best thing it's all very well if we have a crystal ball and we know what's in the future, but I would say everyone should have these documents in place, because the consequences of not having one and something happening to you,
Well,
it's just awful.
It can be anything, can't it? And it doesn't matter what age you are.
Yeah.
It can be. Hayley's friend had a really bad accident.
Yeah.
Knocked over by a car
out of nowhere.
Don't expect it.
And obviously they didn't have it in place. That's why we should all really have it in place.
Yes.
It's, I mean, they're such important things, and things that are...
Things you don't think about, or perhaps you do a little bit, or perhaps you, like we say, never heard of this and didn't even know it was available, and it is. And again, it's giving you that peace of mind that if you were poorly, if you couldn't think for yourself, that someone you love and trust can look after you. Now, there are different types of LPA, isn't there?
That's right.
So could you tell us, because there's two different ones. We did both, but you can do either or both, can't you?
Yeah, that's right. So the first one is the Property and Affairs Power of Attorney, and that one deals with all your finances. So things like accessing bank accounts, claiming benefits perhaps, dealing with people's property. It might be that you're having to sell property because somebody's moved into care or something like that. So it gives you the power to do that kind of thing. Even dealing with investments or perhaps tax affairs, all those things that are day to day, you know, paying your utility bills and stuff like that. Something that is so important just to carry on with that day-to-day life that we take for granted every single day. You know, we get out of bed, we set up our direct debits, you know, we pick up the phone and speak to our utility provider, all that kind of thing that just happens. And suddenly, if that can't happen, it just makes life really, really
Stalls everything,
difficult.
doesn't it?
Yeah, so the Property and Affairs one deals with all those kind of financial decisions.
And the other one?
The other one is the health and welfare. So that's more about your personal health and care. So it allows somebody to make decisions about things like where you live, you know, what medical care you receive, even down to things like what food you eat or what social activities you're involved with. So it probably seems to people that, well, I understand the finance one, that's really straightforward, I get that. The health one, I actually think, is sometimes a little bit more important because these kind of things are really personal, aren't they? You know, if you cannot make decisions for yourself about what medical treatment you get, you want to know that it's the right person making those decisions for you. And imagine if your family can't make that decision, if they haven't got the authority to do that and someone else is having to make that decision. You know, there are some big cases that have been in the press. One in particular where a lady wanted to take her mother out of a care home because she wasn't sure about the care she was getting, or she wanted her home for Christmas and things like that. And she actually removed her from the care home, and it was all in the press. The press loved it because this woman was actually stopped by the police
because she didn't have authority.
And this lady was taken off her and taken back into care. And this daughter was just trying to do what was right for her mum, but she didn't have the documentation in place to be able to do that. So it's really important, and like I say, we don't want to think about something horrible happening to us in the future.
No.
But again, if you've got these documents in place and just put them to one side and hope you never have to need them.
Absolutely.
But if you do need them, they will just be absolutely invaluable for your family more than anything.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so that they can do things on your behalf.
And you talked about the costs themselves, the court of protection costs, compared to what you're paying on the offer that Simpler Law have got for you tonight. This is, I mean, there's no comparison, is there?
There isn't, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see how those costs mount up.
So those costs, if we didn't have an
that's-
LPA, that's what we'd have to go
That's
through
right.
to get control.
That's for applying to the court of protection for a deputyship order. And I think, you know, the financial comparison is really easy to put them side by side and go, this is ridiculous. But we've got a court of protection department and the process that you have to go through on top of all these fees. And bear in mind that you can't access this person's money to pay for these fees at the time because you've got no authority to do that. You're having to
So
find
you're
those
paying
fees
for-
yourself. Yeah.
Which lots of people won't even have.
They won't, exactly.
And if anyone gets in touch today about an LPA, what do they need to know as such?
They don't need to know anything. They don't need to know who they want to act on their behalf. They don't need to know, which one do I want. All they need to know is that yes, it's a great idea, and to make the contact there. That's all they need to do there. Come through to us. We'll take you on the journey. Yeah,
It's that conversation, isn't
That's
it?
right. Pick the phone up and
Yeah.
say hello. We'll then take you through the journey. We'll find out exactly what you want there. But you don't have to think, well, who is going to act on my behalf and what do I need to ask my daughter and, so I have my son as well. Don't need to know any of that tonight. That's for another night. We'll take you through that journey there, but just secure the offer tonight. Just pick the phone up or if you don't want to speak to us tonight, just text that will to 66777 and we'll take care of the rest.
And you just chat, you actually sort of get the information out of us in a really easy conversation.
Yeah,
It is.
It's
yes.
like this.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yes.
And then you can see what we need without us even knowing, and you can
Absolutely.
advise. We can think about it. There's no rush, is there at all?
No, not at all. Even after we've taken your instruction, even after we've done it all, you've still got another 14 days. And if you want to change your mind, you can pull out even after we've taken the consultation for 2 weeks if you want to. There is no, there's no obligation on your part.
And if you think of another question, you think, oh, we didn't.
Absolutely. And then, if you think during that 14 days, well, actually, I didn't think. That's fine. Yeah, that is exactly
And
what
you know
we're
what?
there
Nothing was too much trouble. We obviously went through the process with Hayley's mum and we went back time and time again because we thought of something else. And they were always brilliant.
Yeah.
That's fine,
And also, it's
yes.
really important that everything is signed correctly.
Yes.
That's right.
We were
yes.
even in a situation where we got one of Mum's neighbours, and we'd always known her as the name we knew.
Yeah.
But didn't realise that actually that wasn't her true name. So that could have been a real mess up had you not pointed that out and said, well, no, it's got to be exactly right.
We've got signing guides. We have videos on our website.
Yes, you have.
Yeah,
They're
we talk you through it. Yeah, we even put little stickers saying "sign here."
You do.
And we'll do everything. And we check it. We give a free check-in service.
Yeah.
You can take a picture and send it to us. We've got it. We can upload it on our site. We've got a special there, and we'll say yes, that's great.
Yeah.
You can send it to us, and we'll check it for you. Yeah, whichever way. Because it's incredibly important there. Don't leave it on the side. Get it done. It means nothing until it's signed then. But we will take you through all of that there. We'll take you through the whole journey there, and at the end of it, then it's feedback from our clients. It's such peace of mind for them.
That's exactly what it is. It really is, isn't it? The offers that Simpler Law have done for us here at Shop on TV are really great as well. Because a lot of the time, I think you think, especially with wills, you think, oh, it's going to be really expensive.
Yeah, at £89 is our
And that
offer
is a
this
one-off
evening.
payment.
At
isn't it?
£180, it's worth every single penny. It's not that great expense that you think a will be when you think that you know what you want to go to whoever, and whatever you've got, you know who you want to have. That whether it is your home or whether it is your pets, which I hadn't even thought about. And for £89, that is our special offer this evening or this morning with Shop on TV, with, of course, our fantastic Simpler Law. And you can even split that cost over 4 payments as well, so 4 monthly interest-free payments, so £22.25 for that peace of mind that what you want is actually going to happen.
Yeah, the lasting power of attorney that we've just been talking about, suggested retail price of £325. The offer offer that we've got here at Shop on TV is £179. And as Andy said, I love that, complete peace of mind. Have it in place, like Helen said, and let's hope you never need it. If you do want to split the cost there, £44.75 on your first of 4 payments. But the best offer that we've got this evening is if you go for the combination, the will and the lasting power of attorney. £505 is the suggested retail price, down to £249, or if you want to split the cost, £62.25. And don't forget, the first 250 clients will also receive that free book, What My Family Should Know. This is fantastic. When the team first showed us it tonight, I was like, oh my goodness, everything is in one place. Everything that you need to know when someone passes and you're scrambling around trying to find everything. Everything can be in this book, so it'll make life so much easier for you, but only for the first 250 people who get in touch with us tonight. Speaking of getting in touch, they couldn't be simpler. There's lots of different ways to contact us, and as Andy said, tonight you're just securing those deals and securing that book.
It's nothing complicated, and it isn't complicated when you have the appointment. But tonight definitely isn't complicated. All you are doing is securing those fabulous offers and also making sure that you are getting that fabulous Simpler Law book. So you can either do that via the website. You've got simplerlaw.co.uk/ShopOnTV. You can go through our website as well, or you can jump onto the phones, which is 0333 600 2600. If you've got a question, you can ask it tonight, but they are very busy. So just say, I would really like to make sure I secure the offer. I'd like the book, and they'll ring you back tomorrow and discuss more, and then sort out the appointment for you as well. And then you have got as well a text option, which is really good. If you're sat at home thinking, actually, I don't want to speak to anybody tonight at all, you can just text Will to 66777, and they'll ring you tomorrow, and they know you've been up late tonight or this morning, so they won't ring until after 11 a.m.
Now, we're going to carry on with lasting power of attorney for a little bit more information. But if you do want to go on our website, you can just click straight away on the Simpler Law box there, and it takes you directly through. It shows you the offers that we've got available for you. This will also secure that you get that book. Just fill in your details there, press the submit button at the bottom, and you don't need to know anything right now. This is just making that contact, whether it's the will, whether it's lasting power of eternity. So, Helen, if we've made our lasting power of eternity, what happens next?
Yeah, so that's the important thing, is getting it in place and, like you say, getting it signed correctly, because that's...
Yes, that's huge.
Yes, get it all signed correctly.
I think we did have to re-sign ours twice because it is really important,
It is complicated,
isn't it?
yeah, and it is important you get it right, because, as you say, these documents, when you come to use them, it's normally because someone's lost capacity, and then it'd be too late to get it right. So you have to make sure it's done properly in the first place.
And the great thing is you check it, you say that's not quite right. And the other lovely thing is you've got all these videos online as well.
Right.
So it
all the
talks
help you
everything.
need, and like you say, we will check it to make sure so that it is going to be valid when you need it. Now, what most people do at that point is then just store it somewhere securely. Make sure it's somewhere. We offer a range of storage options which we can talk to you about as well, but make sure that's stored somewhere, and make sure your attorney knows where it is as well. That's the important thing. Before it can be used, it has to be registered with something called the Office of the Public Guardian, and that's the government department that keeps a register of all attorneys that are acting. There's a small fee that they charge directly to register that, but it doesn't get charged until the point of registration. So if your document never has to be used, then you never have to pay that fee. It's an £82 fee that the OPG charge. Some people like to register it straight away, so it's done in case they ever need to use it. But some people, like I say, just want to make sure it's signed and in place, and then put it to one side and register it in the future if it's ever needed.
It is so much more straightforward than you think it's going to be, honestly. And it is just making that contact. And that's what you need to do if you want to get a will, get a lasting power of attorney in place. Just make that contact with Simpler Law. We've been through the process, and we were so over the moon with the service.
Yeah, Andy, well, something I am going to ask, because my mum, things like this terrify her, and she didn't want to do it on her own. Right. You don't have to do it by yourself, do you?
No, not at all, not at all. So with the lasting power of attorney, obviously, you know, if they need help, then yeah, that's absolutely fine. So of course, you know, we encourage there with lasting power of attorney, if you know, if they want to help and get involved, then that's absolutely fine. You know, obviously the choice of attorneys are there, and obviously if they want the children, you know, obviously want to be part of it.
Yeah.
You know, I went to see someone last week, and you know, they had the children there, and I you know, I occasionally you know, go sit. This was a referral from the mother-in-law, you know, which I get, and so I went to see them, and it was like a party. We went back to do the sign, and they had them all there. So it's like, well, it's done in one go, which was great. So, and of course they had questions to ask as well, which is absolutely fine. We've got no issues with that. So because it was all part of it, then and it put their mind at rest as well, because you know, these were people, they were in this the late 70s, early 80s. So you know, whilst we were absolutely fine there, you know, obviously the children were noted that something's going to happen in the future. So it was all done and dusted. You know, I went back and went through the documents for everyone, got the children round there, and you know, it was like they had it was a bit of an event for everyone, really. Where it was like, you know, well, that's fine.
It's quite nice to know what's going on.
That's
Obviously,
right, yes,
it was down to Mum to say what she wanted.
That's right,
But it was for me to sit with her and just give her that security and for her to be comfortable in the situation.
And that's fine. And you know, as long as we're comfortable with that, and they're comfortable with that, and everything's, you know, transparent and above board, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, and that was the thing again, that helping hand.
It's making it bespoke again for you and for what you need. And the lovely thing is, you don't really need to know a great deal tonight. You probably just know you need to get a will, or you really do need the lasting power of attorney, and you think, you know, right, I do need to do it. I love the sound of doing it with Simpler Law, because it sounds like they make it really easy, and it's going to be a discussion, and they'll help me understand what I need.
Well, I think it's what we talked about right at the top with you guys. Everything's insured, it's professional services, everyone's
It's
trained.
Experience as well, isn't it? You've got so many years of experience.
We do this every single day. For, like Andy said, we've got over 200,000 clients that we've done estate planning for now. So, you know, we've got a 5-star Trustpilot rating as well, which is fabulous, because that's people that are actually taking the time out to go on and say, yes, these people did a good job. So we're really proud of that. Yeah,
without a doubt. We're going to go back to wills, and we're going to talk about, once again, the misconceptions, aren't we? And the myths when it comes to a will, because a lot of people have lots of ideas that aren't always right.
Yeah, that's right. People kind of have this perception that perhaps everything will be okay, and that I don't need to do anything. You know, and I think a lot of these misconceptions come because you don't have those conversations with people. You know, you don't sit around the coffee table and talk about what's going to happen when somebody dies.
It's uncomfortable, isn't
it? It is, and people do find it uncomfortable or morbid, or you know, that some people are superstitious about it and all that kind of thing. But I think when they understand how important it is, they kind of move past that. You know, some of the common misconceptions we hear about are things like the common law spouse, which absolutely doesn't exist. You know, just because you've been living together for a number of years, or just because you've got children together, doesn't mean that you're entitled to that person's estate. The actual opposite is true, and people don't understand that until they have these conversations. And there are so many different scenarios where we talk to people and we say, look, if you don't do a will, this is what's going to happen with your estate. You know, your children are going to miss out, or you know, perhaps your funeral wishes aren't going to be carried out, and things like that. And they're like, but I don't want that to happen, I don't want that to happen. And straight away they see the importance in having that will, and they see the real value in doing it. But we need to have those conversations with people. We need people to pick up the phone. You know, if there's people watching the show that are thinking, well, yeah, I know I need to do this and I'll get round to it one day, don't keep putting it off.
Yeah, because you don't know what's around the corner.
Absolutely.
And so many things, Andy, can go wrong, can't they?
Yes.
Just a couple of things that Helen covered there, but there are so many things that if it's not in place, it just messes everything up, doesn't it?
That's right. Yes, it's very sad to think, and that in the UK about one person dies every minute. That's a fact. So, you know, even just, you know, during the show, that's 150 people. And you know, a lot of them people wouldn't have realised it's going to happen, which is good. I mean, you know, the last thing I want to know is that. you know, they went out this morning and, you know, they're not going to come home tonight. And of course, you know, it's these unexpected things that happen there. But by putting this in place, it gives you a peace of mind. And it's just things like that, you know, when these unexpected things happen there, it's a sad enough time for the family anyway. You know, it's devastated to everyone. And if there's no provisions in place, it can cause problems, it can cause family rifts, it can tear families apart, you know, and I've seen that through personal experience there. You know, so a will is something loving, it's something for the family, it's for them, not for you.
Yeah.
It's for them. And it lays everything out there so everyone knows exactly what they're doing. It saves so much hassle down the line.
And it is everything, isn't it? I mean, just chatting to you today, it's things I hadn't even thought about, what you want to happen to your pets and things like that. We can put everything in our will.
So pets, yes, and of course people have got dogs and cats, particularly parrots and tortoises, because they live for so long.
Yes.
And so we got tortoises, like, you know, so you've definitely got to look after your tortoises and parrots. I mean, dogs, you know, will last years, and we've got two. My wife's got two dogs, and you know, people love the pets there. But especially parrots and tortoises, because they can live for donkey's years. So you know, we should certainly be putting them in the will, and certainly be asking people if they'd be happy to look after them.
Yeah,
you know, especially parrots and tortoises, because they can last for years. But there we are. So yes, even things like that. You know, even things, heirlooms and pets, and you know, and even down to funeral wishes. We've got a lot of people there that put the funeral wishes in, and of course, where you know, not many people want black anymore. People want a celebration of life.
Yes.
So you know, it's important, and they're giving us what they want for the party and the songs, and you know, it's even part of that there, because you know, some people, what they do is want it to be a celebration for the family there. And of course, without that, no one knows anything there.
And that's the great thing. The family then knows that their loved one is actually getting exactly what they wanted.
Absolutely.
Because that's a real upset as well. My friend lost her father just the other day, and they hadn't really spoken about what songs and that can be really difficult, can't it?
Yes.
So it's not just a estate. It's not just about what you own money-wise. It's also loved things as well, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Even organ donation as well. Organ donation. It's going to be a very, you know, because obviously there's certainly Wales. I know with you know, it came in a few years ago there where it was automatic, but it's not, because what they'll do is they'll actually ask the family, and sadly I know in Wales there was a couple of hundred cases last year there where, because people hadn't made a will, an organ donation is automatic, but it's not. But they went to the families, and it didn't happen in a couple of hundred cases there, because the family said, well, they didn't put it down, we don't know if they wanted that, and it didn't happen. You know, because of these reasons there. So even though the fact that laws are changing there, you still need to put it down, because it's your family, and you know, what they want for mum and dad, and this is what can cause the issues. So all of these things we'll cover. We'll take you through the whole journey there, you know, to make sure it is done, and you know, with our experience there, we can make sure that, you know, the nuances there and perhaps things they may not have thought of are all pointed out, and they're all catered for in this one all-encompassing, incredibly important document.
And the other great thing is this book. I think when you introduced us to this tonight, and just talk us through what this is, because this, for the first 250 people who get in touch, you'll get this book. It's worth £25, but I think it's worth so much more.
It is. We've created this. We are incredibly proud of this book. We've created this over years of dealing not only with writing wills, but people's estates when they pass on. You know, whether there are clients, or there are clients that, you know, found us through the internet, other clients there, and we've seen it firsthand there, where, you know, when we're going through someone's estate, there is like, have we missed anything? You know, and this is it. And there's some interesting facts here, which are on the first page there. But it is estimated that in the UK, there is more than £5 billion in forgotten pension schemes in the UK.
Gosh.
£850 million in unclaimed British bank accounts, and £2 billion in unclaimed life policies. So that's 7.85.
And where is that?
Billion. It's just sitting there. And this is for families there that have never claimed. This is telephone numbers. telephone numbers here of money that people, you know, it's very life assurance. They take out a life assurance because they want to provide for the family. If they have a bank account and they pass on, they want it to go to their family.
Of course, yeah.
And all of this money here, the families don't know about it. And they could be missing thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds there, which they're never going to get because it's never been found. And what this book does, it allows you to document these things: pensions, bank accounts, life assurance policies. People have frozen pensions there. You know, and if people move 3 or 4 jobs, they're frozen pensions. Well, how do you know that they're frozen? You know, that they're not. There's no monthly payment going out your bank account. You can't find it. And of course, if you like, some of our clients there, we when we go around and see them, they've got a shoebox in a loft somewhere with some documents we put a few years ago, and it's like, well, yeah, and they've not seen it for years. Well, how are the family going to find that? But it even goes beyond that. It talks about, you know, it's a digital life. People's photos, you know, all my photos are on my phone and on my, you know,
Again,
in my
something I hadn't even
tablet.
thought about, yeah.
And it's like, what's the passcode?
You lose all of those, yeah.
No passcode, you can't do it. You can't get in there. And you know what happens? 2 or 3 attempts and you get locked out.
Yeah.
And photos are lost. And people's, you know, life is online. Your email accounts, you know, people, you know, social media accounts there that, you know, people do have some specific ideas and put them in wills as well, that they want to have their, you know, Facebook account. They want it to leave it open for people so they can put comments there. Some people want it closed. But if you haven't got a password, you can't do anything. So what this does, it allows you to put in one place there, you know, where everything is. So when people pass on, professionals can find it, yeah, not necessarily yes, it might be other professionals find it, or even people's families, they can find it. So nothing is lost, because nearly £8 billion of lost money there. That's such a shame.
All those answers in one place as well. When somebody does pass, you hunting high and low for everything.
Even just like who the utility providers are.
Yeah,
You know, that's
you
a
don't
big
know
thing.
any of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's finding that information is really time consuming for the family, when actually they just want to be grieving.
They just want to mourn,
you know.
that's it,
Yeah.
Could be doing other things.
It just makes so much sense, doesn't it, that you put that will in place, you have all that information in one place with that book, and that book you will be getting if you're one of the first 250 people to actually get in contact today, and you can then sort of secure the offers that we've shown you this evening, whether you are looking at, of course, the wills, or whether you're looking at the lasting power of eternity. You really have got the most attorney. Sorry, I keep saying eternity.
Attorney.
It's
fine. It's close.
You know what I mean. The LPA, I'll stick with that. And of course, you can actually do all of that via the phone, or you can text, or you can go through the website as well. So if you are thinking, I do want to do this, I do want to make that move tonight, because I think we put these things off and then life gets in the way, and suddenly it's 6 months down and I still haven't done it. It's another year and you still haven't done it, and then it's too late.
Or if something happens during that period, that's why it's a great time to get in touch with Simpler Law. And there's lots of different ways to get in touch. You can go to the Simpler Law website, simplerlaw.co.uk/ShopOnTV. You can go to the phone, and the team are in the call centre tonight. I've got a feeling they will be a little bit busy though, so if they don't pick up, it's 0333 600 2600. If they don't pick up, just keep trying, or you can text. And if you do send a text, someone will get in touch with you tomorrow. Just text the word will, WILL, doesn't matter if it's lower or uppercase, to 66777, and that will mean the team will get in touch with you tomorrow. And it won't be really early, it'll be after 11 o'clock in the morning that someone will get in touch with you, and it's just making that contact, starting that process, so then you can put your will in place, or your power of attorney. It's so important.
You don't really need to know anything tonight, apart from that you want to do it, you need to do it. And honestly, Simpler Law are there to talk you through absolutely everything. And if you are thinking, well, why should I choose Simpler Law? Helen, why should we choose Simpler Law?
It's such an important thing to trust somebody with, isn't it? You want to know that you're using the experts, and this is what we do every single day. You know, we've got over 200,000 clients all over the UK that we've done estate planning for. We've got a 5-star Trustpilot rating. All our documents are insured to £2 million, so you've got that kind of peace of mind that you're using a professional. We've got a highly skilled and qualified team of people back at the offices in Lincoln who people can speak to on the phones tonight. But I think for us, it's all about the client. The client is at the heart of everything we do, and their journey through the process is what's really important to us. You know, we want to make sure that the customer knows that they're being looked after, that they've got that reassurance, that they've got somebody who can give them the right advice and hold their hand through the whole process. And I think that's what kind of sets us apart, really. And that's why I'd encourage everyone to just pick up the phone and speak to us.
And your Trustpilot reviews are incredible, aren't they?
Yeah, we've got a 5-star Trustpilot rating, and that's all down to the team in Lincoln. You know, they're absolutely brilliant. Even the clients actually go on there and refer to people by name, which is absolutely lovely. You know, like you did tonight, when you said, oh, so-and-so was really good with us. They do exactly the same. They go on and mention the people that we've got in the office, and that gives them a little boost as well. They really like getting those ratings, and they take a lot of kind of pride and satisfaction in doing a good job for
You
people.
make it so personal. It is like a really nice, easy conversation.
It's such a personal thing to do, though,
Yeah.
isn't it? You know, you're almost kind of sharing everything about you. We're talking about your family situation, your assets and what you own. I can't really think of a more personal conversation that you'd have with somebody. So you want to put that person at ease, and that's exactly what the client care team do.
They really
Definitely. Now, Andy, why is it important that everyone should get a will in place? Because we should all have it, shouldn't we?
It is. It's a will. You know, it documents what you want to happen when you pass on. You know, everyone should have that. You know, I think, oh well, I haven't got a lot, or I've not got to leave it to. But it goes beyond that. It goes to, you know, funeral wishes, and it goes to, you know, organ donation, as we've already mentioned.
Yeah.
It goes to, you know, perhaps them you know, little personal things that, you know, we've got people. You know, we had one. I went to see one a year or so ago. He wanted to leave his guitar to his friend. Yeah, and he wasn't very good on the guitar, but he wanted to leave it to his friend because he was a joke between them two, because his friend wasn't very good either, evidently. But he just wanted to leave it to his friend, and it's just, it doesn't have to be, oh, you know, I've got a house, or I've got, you know, people.
It's the personal.
You know, and sometimes it's just the personal things as well, and even down to the you know, the funeral and even the you know, and even the wake. You know, it's like what people want to happen, the colours people want to wear. You know, it's the only way you can leave a set of wishes to your family, and just to let them know, you know, it's for their benefit what you would want to happen. So it doesn't matter who you are. Yeah, you know, we all need to have a will, no matter how much or how little we've got, because it's a very incredibly loving thing to do.
And I love what you say. It's not about you. It's selfless, isn't it?
It's
about
completely selfless, isn't it?
It's about everyone around you and making their life easier when it does come to that inevitable, unfortunately.
Well, it can cause such an upset, can't it, if you haven't put a will together, and then things go really horrible with the family because the wrong people get, and it can really cause feuds that will never be sorted out. So you know that you've written that will, what you want to happen is going to happen, and that's it, and then you can just forget about it.
Now, not only have we got the wills, we've also got lasting power of attorney.
Which a lot of people perhaps haven't even heard of.
And the combination that we've got for you tonight, we'll pop the details on the screen for you. This is, if someone doesn't know about lasting power of attorney, just explain, would you, Helen, what that means?
It's a really powerful document, and what it does is allows you, at a time when you're fit and well and healthy, to say, if in the future I can't make decisions for myself, it allows you to appoint somebody to do that for you. So you can choose someone that you know and trust, and who knows you and the sorts of things that you would want to happen. It allows you to give them the authority to do that. So if something does happen to you in the future and you can't make those decisions, whether that's through illness or through an accident, or even temporarily, you know, if you're taken ill and you're in hospital recovering from an operation or something like that, your life still needs to carry on. Someone needs to pay your bills and things like that. And actually giving somebody the authority to be able to do that on your behalf while you're recovering can really help. You know, that person can then take up what needs to happen, pay your utilities and make sure nothing falls behind. It's keeping that day-to-day life going, really.
And what happens if you haven't got lasting power of attorney?
Yeah, so you can only do it when you're fit and healthy.
Right.
We get some real sad phone calls where we get a telephone call from someone who says, I need a power of attorney for my mum. And it's like, okay, great, we just need to speak to your mum. And she says, you know, mum's lost capacity, so that's why we need it. And unfortunately, then it's too late. So the only thing that you can do is make an application to the Court of Protection for something called a deputyship order. And that order gives you the power to do everything that a power of attorney can do, but it's a lot more expensive and it's a lot more difficult process.
Much bigger process, isn't it?
Yeah, so you can see there the fee. Because it's a full court application, the application fee alone is £371.
And this is money you're having to spend?
You're having to do this, yeah, to go through the process to get the authority.
And this isn't going to sort it out overnight either, is it?
It's not, no, it's a really lengthy process. So at the moment, you're looking at between 9 and 12 months to get a deputy order. So you've got a long period of time.
So what happens to all those bills that need paying and all?
You can't access any funds or anything. You can't speak to any third parties. You've got no authority to do anything. You can't, you know, a lot of the time it's because someone's very ill and they need urgent care and they need money to fund that care. So you're looking at selling properties or accessing bank accounts. And during the period of not having this deputy order, you can't access any of that money. You can't sell property, you can't cash in investments, you can't even pick up the phone and speak to anyone because nobody will speak to you.
You haven't got, you haven't got any rights.
But you compare that to if that person had got a power of attorney in place, you've got the document there already.
It's like you make all the decisions for that person. You become that person as such, I suppose.
Absolutely, it gives you the authority to step into their shoes effectively and be able to do everything that they would do. So yeah, not having one is a really bad circumstance for the family. And I know people don't want to think about getting dementia, or they might be thinking, well, I've got years before I need to think about anything like that. But it's like having a will. Don't put it off, because if you keep putting it off, one day it's going to be too late.
That's it, you just don't know what's around the corner. There are two different types, aren't there?
There are, yes. There's a property and affairs lasting power of attorney, and that's the one that deals with all your finances. So it deals with opening bank accounts, paying bills, selling property, even things like claiming benefits for somebody, which might be something that's really important. If there's a source of money that you can use to help this person, it gives you the authority to be able to do that, and dealing with their tax affairs and investments and things like that. So that one, it's kind of self-explanatory. I think most people have heard of the property and affairs.
Yeah, that's the one, I think I'd heard of first.
But the other one, I think, and you said this earlier, I think it's just as important, or perhaps even more important.
Yeah, it's the health and welfare power of attorney. And this is the one where you're making decisions more about that individual. So it's more about kind of where they live and what medical treatment they receive, even down to things like what social activities they get involved in, who comes to visit them. You know, and strange things like what they eat. You imagine not being able to make your own decisions about what food you're eating. And for a lot of people, they have very strong beliefs about what food they should eat. And imagine if someone else is making that decision who doesn't know you. You know, little things like that are so important, and that's the most upsetting things to family, is if they've got no authority to make those decisions. So the two are very different in what they do, but I think they're equally as important.
We decided to do both, which of course you can do, and again we can talk through with you and see what is right again for
Absolutely.
For us.
Yeah, if you've got any questions about which one is right for you, or which one you need to do certain things, the team can go through all that with you.
So even though we've got specific offers available for you tonight, when you get in touch, when you make that first contact, you can make a bespoke plan.
Yeah, Simpler Law will make it bespoke just by discussing with you, without you even really having to think about anything or knowing anything right now. through conversation, you'll learn what you need and you'll be advised what's best.
And you're not making any payments this evening, you're just securing that deal, that offer that we've got available for you, and an appointment to discuss whether it's the will, whether it's the power of attorney, whether it's a combination, or whether there's more you want to discuss. Because, Andy, there's so many more services, isn't there, with Simpler Law?
That's right, yes. I mean, we specialise in end-of-life planning. So, as Helen's already mentioned, we deal with court of protection, powers of attorney, wills as well. And we also deal with probate. So, we can look after, manage people's estates once they pass on. We also are professional trustees. So we actually manage over £500 million of property across the UK now on behalf of our clients as well. So we're active as professional trustees. And in addition to that, we also write our own documents. That sounds a bit strange, we write our own documents. But believe it or not, there are law firms out there which don't write them documents. So they'll take your instruction, but they don't know how to write it. So we write our own documents, but we also write all of the legal documents for over 100 other law firms and will companies across the UK now. So, our expertise is quite extensive. We also have a company which deals with licensed conveyancers, so, property purchase, etc. Which we also specialise in as well in that company as well. So and because we deal with a lot of property with professional trustees and also in probate, it does follow on to have a licensed conveyancing firm within our armoury as well, if you like, because it does give a full range of services to our clients. And such peace of mind again.
Again, we keep saying that word, don't we? It's peace of mind that you've got all of that knowledge in one place. So I don't think there's anything that you could ask that they won't actually know about.
No, fabulous professional service. They're trained. They've got so many years' experience amongst the whole team.
And are the nicest of people.
Because we've gone through it, we can say that.
And it just makes you feel so relaxed, because things like this scare me. I feel I don't know, anything that's sort of law, or I think, oh gosh, I know I won't know the right answer. There is no right answer. Simpler Law will talk you through what you need, and they'll get into they'll learn about you, and they'll understand how you need bespoke and what you need in whether it is your will or your power of attorney.
We couldn't rate them highly enough after the service that we had with Hayley's mum. Let's remind you of what we've got for you this evening, the offers that we've got. We're going to start with the wills, the family and estate will. If you've put off writing a will forever and you just haven't got round to it, or even if it's outdated, the offer we've got for you, well, it should be £180, the suggested retail price. The ShopOnTV offer price tonight, and it's a one-off payment of £89. However, if you do want to spread the cost, you can do that. Simpler Law are offering 4 interest-free payments, £22.25 on your first of 4 payments if you want to go for the will.
And it's so affordable, isn't it? Because I think you do think as well that it will be really expensive, and even at the full price there, £180, it is worth every single penny of that. £89, £22.25.
I think it's much less than you think it's going to be.
It's a lot less than you think, and that is really just a few cups of coffee, isn't it? And it's paid for. It's nothing, but you know what you want is going to happen, and you know you're leaving your family in a much better place.
Everything's planned. Everything's planned
You've
out.
looked after them.
And it's about them, not about you.
Family and loved ones. It doesn't have to be family. It's whoever you want it to be. Then lasting power of attorney should be £325. This is what I did with Mum just a couple of years ago, £179, and you've got 4 payments there, and I think that is so important, splitting that cost to £44.75, which is fabulous. And then you can do the 2 together, and though these are our offers tonight or this morning, if you do need anything else, of course, you're talking to the right people, but I think the bundle is a good way to go.
And like we said, you're not paying anything tonight, you're just securing the offer.
You don't even have to make a decision tonight,
no,
do you?
No.
You're just securing the offers that you're seeing, and you're getting the book as well.
Yeah, and when you go through, you're just making an appointment. Now, just before we move on to how to contact us, the first 250 clients will also receive a free book. Now, this, I think, is invaluable. What My Family Should Know book. And this is putting everything in one place. So when sadly something does happen, you're not searching high and low throughout the house trying to find everything. You've got so many things in here: passwords, digital accounts. Helen was saying utility bills is a huge one. Your email, all those details that you look all around for that half the time you don't find. Everything's in one place. So for the first 250 people who make an appointment, you'll get this book that you see here from Simpler Law. And if you are going for that combination, it's down to £249. And as I say, you've got the opportunity, if you want to split the cost across 4 interest-free payments, you can. £62.25 on your first of 4 payments. Let's talk about how easy it is to get in touch with us. Lots of different ways. The call centre is open. The team are in the call centre. They have. They're having a late night tonight.
They did give them pizza, so
they
they're
did.
in a good mood.
That's good. That's good.
So you can either jump onto the phone, which is 0333 600 2600, or you can text. Now, text, I think you might be sat up right now thinking, I don't actually really want to speak to anybody tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be going to bed in a minute, but I do want to get in contact. I do want to secure that offer. So texting is a good idea.
You want to start the process. Text from your phone the word WILL, W-I-L-L, and text that to 66777. And what will happen is the team will get that and they'll get in touch with you tomorrow, probably after 11 o'clock, because we don't want to wake you up too early. So after 11 o'clock in the morning, that's the word WILL, 66777. Just text that word. Or you can go to the Simpler Law website, simplerlaw.co.uk/ShopOnTV, or you can go to our website, ShopOnTV.co.uk. You'll see the Simpler Law box there. Just click on that. That'll take you through. It'll show you the offers, and it'll also show you that little contact form. If you fill that in, someone will be in touch.
And again, really simple. You don't need to know anything, just to submit your name, phone number, email, a couple of easy questions there, and it's done. And you've actually taken that first step to have that peace of mind, that first step to make sure you have got your affairs in order. And I think lots of us put it off, and we put it off for so many different reasons, and leave it till it's too late, and it can cause such an upset for family, friends and loved ones. And you don't want that. But I know for me, you find it a little bit frightening, or it's something you don't want to think about, but we must think about it.
It's something we put off, isn't it? Or we think we must do that, I've got to do it, but then life takes over and it doesn't get done. This is about making that first contact tonight so that you start the process. You don't need to have, I loved what Andy said earlier, you don't need to have anything ready. You're just making that first contact, aren't you? And I think that's so important.
Yeah, it's just give us a call.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's the best time to do it is now. You know, people put it off, and people do. You know, it's apathy sometimes, isn't it? And what will happen is then you get busy, and then it gets forgotten about. And like I say, we see both sides. You know, we people contact us every week with, with stories that we hear that things weren't put in place, and the hardship and heartbreak that it caused. You know, we hear that all the time. The only time to do about it is now. You know, just make the contact, even just drop us a text. You know, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Go to bed, don't worry about it. We'll speak to you tomorrow at some point. Give us a call.
And when it is all sorted, people must be just so relieved. I know for us it was just like, oh, we should have done that ages ago.
It is, and we can see that because we have, we've got people put comments on our Trustpilot, and we've got 5-star Trustpilot rating, and we get cards in the office as well.
Yeah, I bet.
Just say, look, it's cakes occasionally, which is really nice. That's always welcome. But just to say, look, thank you very much for that. We're so glad we've done it. We're so relieved now. It gives us a peace of mind there. It's, people think it's a negative thing or morbid in some way, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and we hope obviously it's many years away. But when people have done it, the sense of satisfaction because they've done something for the family is positive. It's a real positive feeling.
It is what you've said and what we've said many times throughout the show. It's peace of mind for you, but also for your family as well, isn't it? And we're going to go back to all the different services that Simpler Law offer, because it is wills that we've talked about, power of attorney we've talked about, but there's lots of different services when it comes to the team. Just remind us again, Andy, of all the different services, because it's it's a lot of things that you deal with, isn't it?
It is, yeah. End of life planning. There's a real nice way to put it over in one summary. But let's break that down. Obviously, you know, wills. We've written over 200,000 wills now. We deal with, you know, lasting powers of attorney. We deal with court of protection work. Obviously, we've heard Helen talk about the fact that it's incredibly difficult to deal with court of protection work. This means it's too late to write a lasting power of attorney. So we've got to go through another route. Incredibly costly, but we do that for people. We're professional trustees. We professional trustees and manage over £500 million of property across the UK now. We've got a company which is licensed conveyancers, so you know, we can deal with property sale and purchase there. But as we deal with so much property with probate and professional trustee services there, that you know, it fits in quite nicely with what we do. We offer a bereavement service.
I was just
So with a bereavement service, so you know, some practical things. You know, someone's passed on, and it's like, you know, what do I do? And
it's
you know,
just that advice, isn't
you know,
it?
it's that advice and practical things. You know, with the house and you know the bills and you know and we're there to give that. And you know, we operate over the phone, and you know, in some instances we go visit people as well, just to walk them through the process there, just to help at a difficult time there. You know, which we offer as well. So there's all sorts of service, and we write our own documents. I know we've said this, but you know, think, well, you know, you take an instruction for a will, sure, you write a will, but that's not always the case. You know, there's a different skill set from taking an instruction to writing the instruction, and some will companies don't do that. But we write all of our own documents, so we've got that experience, so we can know what the issues are. We can you know, see that and give guidance and things that people may not have thought about. And we also write the documents for over 100 other law firms and will companies across the UK. So it's not only the people put the faith in us, the industry puts faith in us as well. You know, and just because we have that knowledge there, so we don't profess to be you know, expert in every area. We just focus on this one area, so we can make sure that we do it well.
And it makes it so much easier again for us, for you, because you've got all of that knowledge in one place. Helen, lots of people, I think we don't really need to have a will. Because obviously, if we're married, if I've been living with Sean for 34 years, obviously if something happened to me, it would all go to Sean. That is not the case.
It's not the case at all, no. Sadly, even in today's society, and there have been attempts to try and change this and update it, but they've said, no, we're not going to do that. There's no such thing as a common law spouse. It's black and white. Either you're married or in a civil partnership, or you're not. And that's it. It's very black and white. So if you're not legally married and something happens to one of you, the other one is not entitled to anything at all.
And do you know, it's what you say. I think so many people will think that is not the case.
Yeah, and there are so many other situations like that. You know, the intestacy rules, which are the rules that apply if you die without a will in place, are just so black and white. They just don't fit today's society. I'll give you an example, and you can see on the flowchart there. There was a doctor who had been brought up by his mum as a single parent, and she'd cared for him. His dad had disappeared, I think, when he was either very young or when his mother was pregnant. Disappeared, never knew him, never had anything to do with him. But this doctor was sadly died quite young. And he wasn't married, so the first question of the rules of intestacy are you married? No. Do you have any children? No, he didn't have any children. Well, the next level that it goes to is, do you have parents? Because they're the people that are entitled to inherit. Now, what happened with this doctor is that both his parents were alive and were both equally entitled to inherit.
Gosh, and he'd never met his father had never looked after him.
So his mum, who had brought him up from when he was young, then had to find her ex and explain that his son had died and he was entitled to half of the doctor's estate. And that was because he hadn't put a will in place, and the rules of intestacy are very black and white. So both of your faces tell exactly the story.
My hair's gone on
and that's exactly what happens when we speak to people on the phone.
And there's lots of people now that are remarried, have got children.
Blended families,
children from different relationships.
And that's really complicated as well.
Yeah, the intestacy rules don't
take that in.
They don't
so
deal
old,
with that at
they?
all.
And
that's right.
traditional family.
Yeah, so you can now have a married couple who have children from different relationships, and what happens is that the first one dies without a will and it passes in the majority or entirely to the surviving spouse, and when something happens to them, it passes down to their children, but not to the children of the first spouse that died. So you're almost kind of gambling who dies first as to which children inherit. And when you explain that to people who've got children from different relationships, when they realise what happens without a will, suddenly it becomes top of their list of priorities to get it in place. Because when you make it real to somebody's circumstances, they see the importance and the value in having this document in place. And there are so many things that come out by talking to people. We had a lady that we spoke to a little while ago, and she was divorced, but she still owned a property with her former spouse.
Right.
And it was all very amicable, and she was remaining in the property, and she lived there with her children. And we said, well, what do you want to happen to your share of the property when you pass away? And she says, well, of course I want it to go to my children. And we actually looked at the way that she owned her property, and she owned it as something called joint tenants with her former spouse. And what that meant is, if anything happened to her, it actually passed directly to her former spouse, automatically.
Oh, God.
So we had to change the ownership of her property to tenants in common, and then she could leave her share through her will. But it was only by having a conversation with her and understanding what assets she owned and understanding her specific circumstances that we could give that advice. And that's why it's so important. Don't sit there thinking, my circumstances are straightforward, I don't need a will,
assume.
everything's all fine. Just pick up the phone and have that conversation with us, because it's so important.
So important.
Andy, nobody needs to know anything today, do they?
No,
They just need
no.
to get that conversation started so you can discover these things and what we actually need, because I think a lot of us don't even realise, just like that lady, what we need.
Absolutely. It's just, you know, perhaps people are probably whizzing through people's minds now, or, you know, what if this... Don't need to know that, you know, at this moment in time. The important thing is get it in place, yeah? Secure the deal. Get it in place, and you know, and that's a very brief phone call tonight or a text, and we'll speak to you tomorrow, you know, and then what we'll do, then we'll call you back and we'll answer any questions there, especially any you know, apprehensions you may have there. But you usually find that once you speak to us and just utter the first words, we'll take you along, and it's all, oh, this is actually, it's not as difficult or as daunting as I thought it would be. And then, you know, then we'll send you a booklet so you know how to prepare, and then give you some thoughts, and then you still don't need to know fully, and then let us take you through that. And then things often drop into place for most people. Sometimes they don't, and then they have to go away and think a bit more. But we're not going to write your will until you're happy anyway. So, you know, and so you can come back 2 or 3 times.
When that very first time, it isn't written that
Absolutely,
that
it's
day,
like no,
and
not
that's
at all,
finished.
not at all. You just, you know, we'll take it at your pace there.
That was the other thing when we got involved with the power of attorney with your mum. I was worried that it was going to be, we've got to do this, you've got to do. It wasn't like that at all. No pressure, no rush. It's on your
a lot of
terms.
people, my mum, you know, they panic and can't think straight if you're being rushed, and you didn't rush us at all.
Yes.
It's brilliant.
Which is so important, isn't it?
It is. You know, is it go people's pace there, or you know, or you're going to throw me words that I don't understand, and all that, and that's another one as well. You know,
big words,
and it's like, oh, big words, and no, that's not what it is. It's you know, it's whatever you want. We'll put the big words in your will. Don't worry about that. Yeah. But when we talk to you, you tell us what you want. We'll sort the rest out then.
And if anyone's watching thinking, do I need a will? Is it okay they get in contact tonight?
Yes.
Secure those deals.
Absolutely.
And then speak to you and explain what they have, because I think some people think, well, I don't really own a great deal.
That's it. It's you know, it's not always what they own. It's about you know, preferences. You know, organ donation, funeral preferences. You know, even the wake after, all there, and you know, perhaps little gifts, etc., etc. So you know, people don't have to have, you know, an assets and this and that and the other to have a will. You know, it can be very simple. You know, it can be very simple. You know, just letting your family know that you thought about it and putting it all straight for them, so they know what you want. Yeah, one of the biggest causes of family rifts, you know, that we've seen there is a death of someone there, and the problems it can tear families apart. It certainly happened in my family, and we hear it all the time. You know, we see it when we go through people's estates there, especially where the wishes aren't clear. You know, so you know, you don't need to know anything. It's just make that call, or even if you've got a will. You know, if there are certain cases where a will can become invalidated, you know, if your situation changes in certain cases, your will can you know, no longer be valid, or it might be out of date, and you know, so someone you've excluded, absolutely, yeah. So someone you excluded, you now, you know, might be friendly with, and you might want to include, and we see that with children, you know, or one's getting more than any other, you know, and we do see a lot of events there where, you know, parents are, you know, perhaps giving people money for deposits for houses, so they make that adjustment in the will.
Oh, right.
Yeah. There's an awful lot of that, and we can do that. You know, so we can even do that to make sure that then that the children are not unevenly favoured there. So all of these little things in wills there, and that's becoming quite commonplace as well. And of course, so all of these things there, you know, we can cater the event. But of course, you know, if you've got a will and it may be outdated, or you've done that and you need to adjust it, then give us a call. And that's what we do.
And Helen, why do you think people choose simpler law to write their wills? Because there's lots of other options out there, but...
There are lots of options, you know, from DIY templates that are really dangerous, and we talked earlier about all the problems that they can cause, and, you know, we get so many come through our probate department which just are not deliberately, just because people don't understand the terminology and things like that, can have catastrophic consequences, often making it worse than having no will at all. So I think using a professional is really important. It is such an important and powerful document, and if you're going to do this once, you want it done right, don't you? Yeah. So you want to use someone that you can trust, and you know, you've given us glowing reviews on the show tonight, so I really appreciate that. But we have got a 5-star Trustpilot review.
Great. And
we have got all the things you'd expect. We've got a qualified and experienced team back in Lincoln who will speak to you on the phone, and also our drafting team, and we've got a compliance team who check all the documents as well. You know, all our documents are insured for up to £2 million, so you've got that peace of mind. We've never had a document fail. But you've got that backup there to know, which you don't get if you try and do it yourself or use a template, or perhaps use a firm that isn't insured. So it's really important that you know that the people that you're using have got those kind of protections in place for you.
Now, I think lots of us, and I know we've covered this, but you might have just turned on and you might think, well, you know, no, it'd be fine if we've been living together for so many years, or, you know, we've got children, so obviously it will go to the children. It's not as easy as that. If we haven't got a will, what we think is going to happen doesn't happen, does it? Exactly right.
And that's where the rules of intestacy come in. If you die without a will in place, these rules that were created so long ago, it's unbelievable. Yeah. And they've only been updated a couple of times. They're updated to take into account civil partnerships, but nothing to do with cohabiting. So as cohabitees or co-parenting, that gives you no right under the intestacy rules at all to inherit anything. And people don't understand how these rules apply to their own specific circumstances. And I think it's really important that everyone looks at that and understands there's nothing personal about the rules of intestacy. You know, everything that we talk about in this show is all about personal decisions and retaining control. Writing your will is about retaining control over everything: your funeral wishes, your assets, your organ donation, all your preferences, you know, who you don't want to inherit, who you're excluding from your estate. It's all personal to you, bespoke, and your control. If you die without a will, you've got no control over what happens at all. You don't even control who administers your estate.
And what would happen to your children if two parents died, if you haven't got a will?
So if you've got minor children, I mean, nobody wants to think about not being around to see their children grow up, but it does happen, sadly. And if both parents pass away without a will in place, there's no guardian then appointed, because of course a guardianship clause is included in the will to appoint guardians. And if you don't do that, what it means is that if both parents die, you're then waiting for family members to step forward and look after those children. It might not be the people that you would choose.
No.
It might be that people from different sides of the family say, you know, they definitely would have wanted us to look after them, and that there are
Causes disputes then.
arguments and fallouts. And of course the children are in the middle of all this, you know, they've just lost their parents. In the very worst case scenario, unfortunately it doesn't happen very often, but the children can actually be taken into care while it's all sorted out. I mean, that is quite rare, but it's just absolutely heartbreaking. I don't know why anyone who's got minor children would take the risk.
Yeah.
No.
Just get a will.
And that's it. I think lots of us think, well, I'm young. And that's not the case.
you've
I've
got
got
children,
years
yeah,
ahead of me,
definitely.
so I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah,
I'm
which is probably true, but why would
that's
you
the
take the
case,
risk when
yeah.
you've got children?
And we know now, don't we, that anything can happen. That you know, life is precious, and we you know, with all the things that have happened in the world recently, you just don't know what's around the
You
corner.
just, yeah, you never know, and just don't take the risk. You know, get it done. Live the next however many decades of your life, knowing that you've got that in place and that it's all sorted for you.
It's so important. Again, it's peace of mind, as Andy said.
And it's so affordable
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
that's the other great
I think
thing.
you might think, well, it's expensive to do.
That was
a
the
will.
one of the things I thought. I thought, oh, it'll be a fortune to write a will.
And
This makes it so affordable.
It's
And
not
you've
the
got the
case.
opportunity to spread the cost with simpler law as well. The client care team, Andy, are in place right now, aren't they?
They are,
If
yes.
anybody wants to call, even at this time, they're there ready to take phone calls, aren't they?
They are.
Really passionate team you've got.
They are. They're very, very good. I don't know any other firm in the UK you can ring at 3 o'clock in the morning and speak to someone, but you can with us.
Yeah.
And they are very good. We had to buy them pizzas earlier, but
So they're happy as well.
so they're happy.
Well-fed.
And they're well-fed. They're well-fed. But they are very good. On a serious note, so when you call them, they will. That might be a bit rushed tonight. That they won't have a full conversation with you tonight. But they're very pleasant. They will put your mind at ease straight away there. It's about securing the deal. But what they will do is well, later on today now, they'll call you back and then they'll explain the process. You answer any questions you've got, allay any fears you've got, put out of mind any apprehensions you've got there. We'll send you preparing for the appointment booklet, so things to think about.
We're not spending any money tonight,
But
are we?
well, obviously they would secure the deal. Then yes, they can. Then they can do that. There's whatever people want to do. Then so
Okay.
if they're ringing, yes, they can do
They
that.
can secure it
so
with-
they can secure it, and
Right.
then they can start the payments. Bear in mind that it's all that if they do the instruction and are not happy, they've got 14 days they can completely change their mind. So there's no pressure
Right.
on them at all.
So there's no rush.
There's no
in
rush. There's no rush in any of that. So the important thing is securing the deal. Once you've got the deal, that's fine.
And we
if
can
you
do
change
that
your
either
mind
on
down
the
the road,
phones and talk.
absolutely.
We can text as well, can't we?
Text, yeah. If you text 66777, text the word will. And then what that means is that you don't want to talk to us tonight, which
Yeah.
I perfectly understand.
That's
That's
okay.
fine, no problems. But we will contact you back later on today. It'll be after 11. Yeah,
Great.
we're not going to badge you first
Wake
thing in
you
the
up
morning.
first thing.
They're not going to be in that early anyway,
No.
so they're not going to call you. They're not going to call you early, but they will call you on after that. And again, they'll be able to take you and have that conversation.
And it's just making that contact, it's starting that process, isn't it? Because like we all said, you put it off. You
Yeah,
put it
it's
off
that
time and
first
time.
step.
Yeah.
That's the hardest bit.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that they need to do it. In the back of their head, they all know that this needs to happen at some point. It's just making that decision to do it now
Yeah.
and straight away. And we've made it so easy. I know that everyone sat at home, their phone is right next to them.
Always.
They can pick it up, send a quick text, and we'll speak to you about it tomorrow. But then you started the process, and that is the hardest bit. Everything else from there will make it really easy for you.
Again, that number to text, if you do want to text, just text the word will to 66777. There it is on the screen. It's the easiest way at this time of night. If you've watched the show and you want to go to bed, just text the word will to 66777 and the
And
team
it's
will be in touch tomorrow.
Such a relief when you've done it.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh.
And when you actually speak to someone from Simpler Law, it'll be an even bigger relief because they put you at ease straight away. Remember, the first 250 people will get that book. That book is spectacular. It's going to have everything there where you need it when someone does sadly pass away. So you're not searching everywhere all over the house. And lots of things, Andy, that you don't think about are in this book. That again
right, yeah.
make your life easier at a time that's really hard.
It is. You talked about, utility providers, mobile phone companies. A lot of people have a digital life these days,
Yeah.
so they have You know,
Everything,
they have
yeah.
online, better National Lottery. You know, they have other
Yes,
certain
you know,
accounts
there's
on
on the
there,
lottery,
and
yeah.
you know, some people have some money in that, and
Yeah.
well, hopefully it'd be nice to have some money, and you know, and other things as well. And again, without access to these things, or if people don't know where these things are, then it's great to document it down. We particularly think of photos. Yeah, we see this an awful lot. People have a tablet, no one knows how to get into it. And you know, because it is confidential as well, you know, and we've seen photos lost. People's lives can be lost these days because they're all
your
on
life
a
is on
computer
that.
password,
Yeah.
computer, and of course they can't get into it. And you know, if you keep trying, then you get locked out of it.
It blocks you out, yeah.
And you know, they are lost there. You know, and I'm terrible for photos. Take loads of photos, and then I don't do anything with them.
We're all the
They're all
same.
on there.
Yeah.
And you
So
know,
all our
they
memories.
would be lost for years. You know, years and years of memories lost. So it enables you to put it down so people know where to find them, yeah, and they can be preserved. And also practical things like money and pensions and you know, the billions of pounds that's been lost in unclaimed accounts.
Well, you don't, I wouldn't know what my parents had, what accounts they had, what insurance
No, of
they
course you wouldn't.
had.
No.
No. And people tend to move around now as well. You know,
Yes.
they'll have an account and then they'll move to a different bank, but
Yeah.
there'll be an old account with some money left in it, or, you know, things like that. And you're right, how would you ever know if it's not written down? I mean, I struggle to remember my own passwords for things.
Absolutely.
So anyone else has got no chance at all.
Now, sadly, we've got around about 20 minutes left, and we will cover lots more in that 20 minutes. But if you are thinking, well, what are the offers? I haven't seen all the offers that you've got available this morning. Have a little look at what we have got available. And these are, all you're doing today is securing these incredible deals. And like we were saying, family and estate wills, you imagine doing your will is going to cost so much. At full price, at £180, worth every single penny that you're putting your loved ones, you're putting them in a good place. It's your peace of mind that who you want to get, whatever it is that you own or love. It could even be your pets. It's so important to have a will, but your price tonight is actually just £89, and you can split that to 4 payments of £22.25, and you could spend that in the coffee shop, couldn't you?
Easily.
You know, it's so affordable to make sure you are leaving your loved ones in a good position. And I know it's something we don't want to think about, it's something we put off, but it's something we all must do.
And it's like we said, just to have it, just to know that it's there and in place. Well,
It was a relief when we did ours, wasn't
it was.
And we didn't realise till we did ours that actually, even though we'd been together 33, 34 years, we wouldn't have inherited each other's money.
No.
Which is crazy, isn't it? But we presume.
You presume.
But we presume wrong. You do need to write a will, whatever situation you're in. Perhaps you've remarried and you've both got children from different families. One set of children could completely miss out, or depending who dies first. And perhaps you've got no children. It's very confusing, and not what you think is going to happen happens unless you write it down properly with someone like Simpler Law, and they make it so easy.
And it might be the fact that you don't get on well with your family anymore, so you want to leave to your friends, because a lot of friends now are your new family, aren't they? But you can make those decisions and write them down in a binding document.
Exactly. I mean, we had one particularly sad case where a gentleman had attempted to do a will, and this was another will that he tried to do himself, and sadly he hadn't signed it correctly, so it wasn't valid. But he didn't have any close family, and he had a couple of friends that he wanted his estate to go to, and he had a reasonably sized estate.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're talking a few £100,000. But because his will was invalid, he died intestate. So that means going through that chart and finding the relatives. And because he had no close family, we ended up chasing cousins to New Zealand and Australia, and these people that
We didn't
had
even know,
never
really.
even met him, who were then going to inherit from his estate. And yet the people that he was closest
That he
to,
loved, that he wanted to have.
missed out just because he hadn't got a will in place. So those kind of scenarios are really sad and so simple to solve.
It's selfless, isn't it, writing a will?
It is to a large degree. I mean, I think you personally get a lot of kind of reassurance and satisfaction from doing it. But you're absolutely right. The people you leave behind are going to be so grateful just because they know then exactly what you wanted to happen, and they can make it happen. They can make sure it's all in place. I think that's the biggest thing. If you lose someone close to you, you want to do the things that they wanted. Like, you want their funeral to be as they wanted. You want to make sure, you know, there's so many little personal items that we accumulate that we know we want to go to specific people. And for some families, that can be so lovely when they get that list in the will of these little items. It shows that they've really thought about it.
And you don't have to decide. You don't have to do it wrong.
And there's no argument.
I'd be worried about doing it all wrong, you know, giving that to someone who mum or dad didn't want that to go to.
Yeah,
it's all there, and that's that peace of mind again that it comes back to, isn't it? We've got to go back to the offers because it's not just wills, remember. The lasting power of attorney is available, and we'll try and recap before the end of the show. The suggested retail price on that is £325. £179 is the price at ShopOnTV, with 4 interest-free payments if you want to pay them, £44.75 on your first of 4 payments if you want to spread the cost. But the best offer on the show is the will and the lasting power of attorney. Suggested retail price of £505 down to £249, and that
you don't even really have to decide.
No,
you'll discover when you have the conversation. Tonight you're just securing the offers, the prices as such.
And making that contact.
And getting that fabulous book as well. You can see at the bottom that 250 clients will get that free What My Family Should Know book, and it's worth £25, and everybody should own one of those. Now, though we're coming towards the end of the actual show, can we go back to the lasting power of attorney?
Yeah.
And for anybody, because I think everybody's heard about a will.
Yep.
But this, to some people, they might, what is this?
Yeah, exactly. I think unless you found yourself in circumstances where it becomes necessary, you might not have heard of it.
Yeah.
But it's actually a really powerful document, and it kind of covers that scenario of if in the future you're in a position where you can't make decisions for yourself. So if you're suffering from, Alzheimer's disease and dementia are the ones that we think about mostly, but it could be anything. It could be any kind of long-term illness. It could be through an accident. It could even be something temporary. But if you can't make decisions for yourself, this document gives somebody else the authority to make those decisions for you. The problem is that you have to do it now while you're fit and well. So if you
too
wait,
late, isn't it?
That's right. It is absolutely too late. So it's a really important and powerful document. And again, like a will, it's all about you making those decisions, choosing the person that you know and who knows you and who knows what you would want in those circumstances. You're kind of controlling that. If you don't appoint somebody, then anyone could step forward and apply for a deputyship order to get that control. So this is all about you retaining control and appointing the people that you want
someone
to act.
You trust, someone that actually becomes you in a way, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And sorts out
they're going to have
everyday things.
Yeah, they're going to have all this power over your assets and making decisions for you. Even, under a health and welfare power of attorney, they get to decide where you live and kind of what medical treatment you get. So this is really important stuff.
So it needs to be someone that you choose, that you know, that you trust.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people choose their children, and you can have more than one. You don't just have to have one attorney. You can appoint all your children to act, so that any one of them can help you out. But it might be that you've got friends that you want to make those decisions. But again, it's all about the person that you decide.
So that's 2 separate.
It is, yeah. There's the property and affairs power of attorney, and that deals with the financial side. So things like bank accounts, claiming benefits, paying bills, dealing with investments, all those kind of things.
All those things that you can't do if you haven't set
That's
this
right.
up.
Yeah,
so
we take it for granted, don't we?
Yeah,
We take
absolutely.
it for granted.
Well, I would expect, because, I help sort of look after Mum, I'd expect to be able to do all those things, but of course I wouldn't.
Yeah, you can't. As soon as you pick up the phone, they say, "Are you the account holder?" And straight away they can't.
Even now,
that's
if I make phone calls for Mum, they will have to speak.
They have
to
to
Mum
speak and get the
clear that it
permission.
is Mum.
Yeah.
So you've lost control completely. So that's the first of the LPAs.
Yeah, that's the property and affairs. The other one is the health and welfare, and that's the one where the person appointed can make decisions about your kind of well-being. So,
and you can advise us which one perhaps is right for us, or we decided to do both with you because it just
a
made
lot
sense.
of people do. I think people have heard of the property and affairs, so that's the one that they go to straight away. But I think as soon as they understand the implications of not having a health and welfare document, a lot of our clients say, actually, I just want both. Just let me do both at the same time.
Yeah. And of course, you can have that discussion with you and sort out what is right for you. Or you could go for the will and the LPA, you know. But the great thing is, you don't have to think about that tonight.
No.
That will be a discussion you have in the future.
And what we were saying, Andy, as well, people don't need to have anything ready straight away.
No.
I can imagine people
going
thinking,
through the drawers.
People are making lists.
They're in the loft looking for stuff.
Yes, dragging the box out of the loft. No, they don't need anything tonight. It's the initial contact. Yeah. Once it's the hardest thing to do. Because people put it off. It's apathy, and we get busy, and just make that call, drop the text, whatever that make the first. You don't need to know anything there, and often that's the best way then, because when you get to preparing for an appointment, you get time to think about it, and we just take you through the consultation and have a chat with you. Things fall into place, and then sometimes you've got some food for thought, and you can go away and think about it. But to start the ball rolling, it's the intention.
Yeah.
That's what you need, is the intention. Yes, I'm going to do this. Yes, let's do it now, because tomorrow's another day and life will get busy again. Just pick the phone up, drop the text, whatever.
It's a real opportunity, I think, tonight, because if you've thought about it and put it off, and I think a lot of the time you're not even putting it off, you just don't get round to it, do you?
I think sometimes as well, I know for me, it frightened me. It sounded complicated. I thought it was going to be expensive, and it's completely not that. But I also think some people think I don't need a will. And actually, they might think I don't own a house. It's not just about owning a house, is it? Or I'm too young. And we should all have a will, shouldn't we, in place?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Everyone should have a will. It's even down to it's personal things. Personal gifts. Just things that we want to give people, or things we want to pass on, which are personal. There. It can be, even be the funeral preferences. Burial, cremation. A lot of people want the simple cremation these days, or they want an eco-friendly cremation these days. And specific thoughts about that, or songs, or they want a wake, or some want a big party. They want it to be a celebration of a life rather than people to be miserable. And again, it's a document there, and this is where you document it. This is the place. This is the only legally recognised document of you speaking, if you like, from beyond the grave.
Yeah.
This is it.
And if you've got an existing will already, they can still get in touch and update wills and such, can't they, with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a few things that you need to be careful of if you've got an existing will.
Yeah.
First of all, check that you know where it is, because that's a big thing. People pass away and can't find the original documents. And it is, even in today's modern society, you need the original will with the wet signature on it.
Right.
That's the one,
So
you
not
can't,
copy.
not
And
just
check that it has been signed. Often they're not
check that
signed.
it's been signed and witnessed correctly. Often the witnessing catches people out and it's not done correctly. And also check that it still matches your circumstances, because we find on average that our clients update their wills about every 3 years.
Really?
So if that time's passed, you might find that either your assets have changed, or your family dynamics changed, or even just your preferences have changed. Just make sure you review it. I would say get in touch with us, secure the deal, because if you do need a new will, you want to take advantage of the offers. But if you don't, you've got a cancellation period. So we can have a look at your existing will, and if nothing needs to change, then absolutely great, but at least then you've still got the same peace of mind.
And what happens tonight if we get in touch with the phone call, first of all?
All you have to do is decide which offer you want to take advantage of tonight. Just secure that deal, make your first payment if you're spreading it over your 4 payments. Then we'll send you some information. We'll contact you again tomorrow to book in an appointment. And that appointment will be at a time that's convenient to you. You'll be at home in your own home. You can make a cup of tea. You can be all ready.
Yeah.
You'll have all your information there from the email that we send you. And then our consultant will phone you up and go through it all.
And your team were great. They worked around us when we did it, because we're often away and not with Hayley's mum all the time. So they worked really good, worked around us. So if you want to make the payment tonight, you can make that first payment, or maybe you want to do the full payment. But if you, the thing I'm thinking is, if you then decide you want to go for both powers of attorney.
Oh yeah, you can
Is that
absolutely
okay? You
do
can
that.
sort of change.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
I think when you talk to you, you think, oh, actually,
There's so much
I
more.
want that as well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's completely fine. During the consultation, there'll be so much information to think about, and we'll ask you questions that you've never even thought about,
Yeah.
you know, and that'll prompt whole new conversations where things will become apparent that perhaps you want to look at something else, or perhaps there's something you don't need, or, you know, that will all come out in the consultation. So the first thing you have to do is get in touch. We can't help you with
Yeah.
anything if you don't just pick up
It's
that
a
phone or
starting
text
point,
us.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's getting the ball rolling, if you like, and it's really simple to do as well. And the offers that we've got for you tonight are great, no matter what you go for. And if you do want to add more in, as Helen just said, you can do that. So the family and estate will, £180 on the suggested retail price. It comes down to £89, I should say, £89. And if you do want to spread the cost, Simple Law will offer you 4
so
interest-free
affordable, isn't
payments.
it? 'Cause you do think a will be so expensive,
Yeah.
and it's just not.
22.25 on your first of 4 payments if you want to spread the cost. A lasting power of attorney, £325 would be the suggested retail price, down to 179 on the ShopOnTV price. And then you've got the 4 interest-free payments available if you so wish, 44.75. But the best value for money is if you go for the combination, the will and the lasting power of attorney. £505 suggested retail price, down to 249, and if you want to use those flexible payments, 62.25. The contact is easy, but remember, the first 250 clients will get that What My Family Should Know book, which is brilliant. Contact Hayley, really simple.
So simple. You can either do that on the website simplerlaw.co.uk/ShopOnTV. You can do it via our website as well, which we will show you in a moment. You can jump onto the phones, which is 0333 600 2600, and it is just securing that deal today and then talking in the future. They'll ring you back tomorrow. And then if you're thinking, well, I don't really want to talk to anybody right now, I'm going to go to bed in a moment, just text Will to 66777, and again, they will ring you back tomorrow after 11 a.m. because they're up late this morning like you are, so they won't ring you first thing. And again, it's just getting that ball rolling. It's just making that first step to have that peace of mind in your life.
If you go to our website, you will see you can go directly link through to the Simpler Law website. It'll show you the offers. It'll remind you of those offers just there. And then scroll down and you just fill in that really simple, brief form and submit at the bottom of the screen, and the team will get back to you once again tomorrow now and get in touch. And,
Well, it's today, I suppose,
well,
isn't it?
today, yeah. And
We're into
sort
tomorrow.
your plans that... I love what Helen said, the bespoke for you. You can make a plan that's just right for you.
And I love the fact that you don't need to know anything apart from you need to get these things in place, and it's that relief when you've done it and you're taking the biggest step today, and it is so simple, and we've done it, and we've done it with Simpler Law. It's so simple, and we've got to thank both of you so much. Andy, the CEO, and of course Helen as well.
Director of Legal Services.
That's right.
A great team, full of information. If anyone at home's missed anything, you can catch the show on YouTube, so you can catch up if you missed any of the points. So if you wanted to watch again and see any of the points, that's a great way to catch up and see anything. But you must get in touch with these offers. Great offers, aren't they? Huge thank you to you both as always.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And it's been great to have your company as well, and please jot down the numbers and just think, yeah, I've done it, I've made that step, and you will have that complete we were like,
yeah,
why didn't we do it years ago?
Yeah, real peace of mind that you've got from Simpler Law. Remember, you can call still to the call centre, but you'll have to be quick, 0333 600 2600. But the best way is to text. Text the word will to 66777, and you will get a call back tomorrow, and you'll be able to have that peace of mind that we've talked about.
It's all about securing that deal and getting this fabulous book as well, which the first 250 people do get, and this everybody should have one. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you for
guys.
watching.
We'll see you very soon, hopefully, and same for you at home. We'll see you very soon.